That's about Karen Mitchell.
I have it. I have it on record right now. So,
Okay.
banter will be there.
So I'm going to operate the camera.
You just keep it on me. That's all you're gonna do.
All right.
You're gonna be
I'll take
fine.
care of it. Don't worry about it. You stay there. I'll take care of these with the meeting.
Yeah, because Connie's not gonna have to do much with it. Okay. Except it feels funny to sit at this table. I don't think I've sat here ever.
In a really long time now.
I know, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What am I missing?
We only have 9 now.
Karen,
Mariana's in Minister.
Mariana, Karen, Mary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, Mariana, yeah. Okay. Terry,
1, 2, 3,
Karen,
4, 5,
and
6,
Ellen.
7, 8, 9.
Got it. Great. Hey, Ellen, do you want to treat us in? Terry, can you mute yourself?
Sure.
Thanks, bud.
Where do you want me to be?
You can come get near me, just so that you're in the camera. So everyone can see you. Is that good?
I don't
You're
know.
good right there.
All her
Don't
fabulously.
move a lot.
Should probably-
I want you to,
I
you
said a
can't see
lot,
though.
not at all.
The camera just loves you.
The camera does love you. Yeah. The camera's like your natural Botox. It's like Botox. It's like your face just gets this pure.
Let's just take
Wow.
the camera to my mirror in the.
Well, it should see the same thing the camera sees.
Ah, all right, everyone. Let's take that Botox and just freeze the moment. And know that no matter where we are, frozen in time, there is no time. There is no space. There's only right here, right now, being present with the one. God, spirit, universe, energy. It's called many names, and we are it. We are connected to that divine source at all times. And I know that tonight is unfolding beautifully, perfectly, as we go over our tests, as we continue to expand in our knowledge, letting go of everything that we thought we knew, to recognize and realize that we already know everything we need to know. And just to be steeped in that truth right here, right now. And so with that, I'm just so grateful to be a part of this journey with each and every one of you in this ministerial class, soon to be ministers, woohoo! And with gratitude and thanksgiving, I release my word. And together we all say,
And
so it is.
Thank you. So tonight, I'm going to get you out of here probably by around 9, I hope. That's my plan anyway, to go over the tests, but I want to do some housekeeping first. Next week, or I want to explain the rest of the year. Next week, do you have that schedule for everyone?
Yeah.
Next week, I'll be doing interviews. So you're not here for the whole evening, you're here for your interview. However, I'm doing it this way. It's starting out with Erin, so she will be first, and I will be doing my interview of Erin. And how much time did we give each one of them?
15 minutes? 20 minutes each.
20 minutes each, right?
No, 15 minutes each.
Was it? That's
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Short interview.
But we're down by 1, so we could probably
Yeah,
get it back
probably
to
gonna
20.
20, yeah. So what we're going to do is I will meet with Erin. I'm going to give you these times now. You didn't type this out for them all yet.
I did type it out. I just haven't sent it because we weren't sure if we were going to give it to
Okay,
them
well, let's
tonight.
talk
So
through it.
I'll send
Let's
it
talk
out.
through it.
Sure. Let me get a pen. I don't know why I don't have one.
Oh, I thought. So anyway, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to interview Erin as the first interview of the night, meaning just interview you about ministry. It's the discussion that we need to have.
Oh, tonight we're doing it.
No, I'm not doing it tonight.
Oh,
No, I'm just telling you how it's going to work.
These are one-on-ones,
This is next
or is this
Wednesday,
in front of
one-on-one.
the class?
Nope, just one-on-one.
not Wednesday, Thursday.
Huh?
Not
Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Did I say Wednesday?
You did.
No. Yeah, come in on Wednesday. Do it during my class. Thursday. So I will meet with Erin, but then who's second?
David.
David. So David meets with Erin, because then Erin becomes the minister.
Oh,
Get it? So you're all going to get a chance to be interviewed and be interviewer. I will be in the room and I will ask anything that the interviewer forgets to ask. But it's how do you speak to your practitioners? How do you do your meetings with your practitioners, with your ministers? How do you do meetings when you're having to talk to someone about where are we, what do you want to do in flight, whatever those questions are. And you really won't get them. But however, I want you to come to the meeting with the questions you think you should be asking. Okay?
So are you going to give us a
Nope.
guideline?
I'm not.
So
You
what's,
come-
we're to
I'm going to have a meeting with every
act
one of
as-
you
yeah.
as a minister to
Right.
talk to you about where are you, what do you think you need, where do you think you are in the teaching, Karen's already had this meeting. I should start with you since you've already had this meeting. I should change the order of this.
I actually have a question. I was actually wondering if I could be online next week because my family's in San Diego, so I don't know if that is okay. I'll be
You
online.
can't do it online this time, no. So you're not here next week?
I was planning on going down there, but I can't.
Well, you can go out down. If you go first, you go right afterwards. Oh, you mean be down there all day?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's Karen in that list?
Karen Mitchell or Frost?
Frost.
Karen Frost is 5.
She's 5th.
No, she's 6.
She's 6th. No, it doesn't matter. You just have to. You probably don't even remember half the questions I asked you.
I do, because I'm a cheater.
Well, good. Then when you bring yours in, you can hand me what I said. But you're going to hand it in to me. So when you get here, I want you to hand in to me your written questions of how you would hold this interview. Okay? So.
So move Karen Frost to
No,
Karen's
I'm
spot.
not going to move anybody. So, and as far as of course I have to let Helen do it online. So, I suppose I could let you do it online. Give me the list. Who's after who? Oh, it's David Allen Cruz.
Yeah, I have you interviewing Aaron interviewing David.
Okay, then David interviews. So
interviews.
take these times down, folks. So Aaron is at 7.
Yes.
Okay, David Allen Cruz, you should be here. You should come at the same time as the person before you so that you're ready. So if Aaron's at 7, you should be at 7 too, but you'll be the next one. And his is at 7:20. No.
Okay, it'll just be you and the 2 people.
It's me and Aaron. Then it's me, Aaron, and David.
Okay, I got it.
And then Aaron goes home.
And who does David interview?
And David interviews
Ellen.
Ellen. So Ellen, so you're here at 7:20.
Okay.
Okay? So 7 o'clock we're going to take Aaron out of the mix, is David Allen Cruz. 7:20 is Ellen. And then Ellen's interviewing who?
Karen Mitchell.
7:40, Karen Mitchell. Are you there yet, Karen?
No, she's not.
Okay. 7:40 is Karen Mitchell. And then Karen Mitchell is interviewing
Helen.
Helen. Okay, great. That's 8 o'clock. And then who's Helen doing?
Oh, I've got this. Okay. Helen is interviewing Karen Frost.
Okay, so then you're at 8 o'clock. And then,
Karen Frost is interviewing Mariana.
great, you're at 8:20.
And then Mariana is interviewing Sharon.
Sharon, you're at 8:40.
And Sharon is interviewing, you wrote this down and all of a sudden I don't read it.
I wrote it, you wrote it.
No, you wrote it.
It's my handwriting you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's a J. Who's left that's got a
Just
J?
hand it to me then. I
Terry?
write on your pad.
Because you took it out of my hand and said, oh, let's do this.
Oh, God, that's a disaster. I can't even read.
Well, that's why I typed it out.
Do you have it? Where's it
It's
typed
on
out?
the computer.
Print it.
Okay.
It's so much easier than trying to figure this out.
So James, can I just ask a couple more clarifying questions?
Only if they're clarifying.
Well,
I
the
should,
only
I
person
hope,
left
they will hopefully clarify
is
in my
Terry.
mind. So when we interview the person we're interviewing, it'll be obviously right after we've been interviewed, but the pretext or the context is we're acting as if we're a minister, interviewing a practitioner as to what their thoughts are
Actually,
around being a
interviewing
minister. I'm
No.
interviewing a minister.
You're doing the interview that I would be doing.
Okay.
If you screw it up, I'll fix it.
Okay.
Because this is my way of talking to you all. But to me, it's a better way of teaching you than to just have you all come and meet with me. This way you get to meet with me and then do it. You know, one of the things that I found during Ministerial was that we didn't do anything with Dr. Walker. It was all lecture, 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 and every now and then we got out to speak in the classroom. But none of us ever did anything other than that. So when we got out of there, we all passed, but it was like, oh my God, now we got to do this. I want y'all to get out of here and having done a lot of this. So the homework is bring me a sheet showing me how you would interview a minister. Which means you have to use your mind to say, okay, so what am I going to want to know from my minister? I'm the senior pastor. What am I going to want to know from my minister? What am I going to know from my practitioner, which all your ministers are practitioners to begin with?
So it's like you're interviewing a minister to come to your church? To be part of
No,
your
this
church?
is your yearly minister meeting. Every year I meet with I meet with every one of you every single year to check in with you, see where you are, what are the kind of questions you're going to ask them, what do you need to know? Okay?
But we're interviewing like we'd be interviewing someone who graduated from ministerial class or a practitioner every year.
No, I want it to be this is the end of 2 years of ministry
Okay, got it.
class. So you're interviewing them at the end of their 2 years. There are things you're going to want to know about these people coming out of class. So first you're going to be interviewed by me. Well, not by me, but you are, Aaron. And then the person, and the thing is, even though you prepare what you're going to do on this interview, once the person behind you interviews you, and you're ready to be the interviewer, make sure you incorporate what's really been asked. Because if you don't ask the things I need to hear, I will ask them. None of you are getting out of this unquestioned.
Okay.
All right.
You had said that Aaron will be interviewing David at 7, but what time are you interviewing Aaron?
At 7. No, I told David to be here.
To be here at 7.
So we can't do this online. I mean,
So everything from what I wrote down is going to be at 20 minutes later because
Right. So it's
the
this.
first Aaron interviewing David will be at 20 minutes after 7.
So at 7 o'clock,
That 7 would be
I'm
you.
going to interview Aaron
Okay.
online, apparently. At 7:20, Aaron is going to be interviewing David online, apparently. It'll be in my office.
thank
so.
you very much. Thank you guys.
Okay. And then at 7:40, David will be interviewing Ellen, right? At 8 o'clock, Ellen will be interviewing Karen Mitchell. At 8:20, Karen Mitchell will be interviewing Helen Ballou. I might switch these because you know what? Doing this, Helen's late.
Yeah, I thought I was 8:20.
Yeah, he's changing his.
No, I'm not. No, these are the when the
Everything's
interviews
20
are.
minutes more. Than
Okay,
when
guys,
it's the
these
first
are
one.
when the interviews are happening. I want you to arrive at the 20 minutes before, not arrive at the
Gotcha.
time of your interview and then throw things off. Okay, let me look
He's
at
gonna
this.
show up at 7 o'clock.
Okay, so let me do this again. So I'll do Aaron.
That's it.
Aaron, I'm gonna have you do Helen. Okay? You two can do it on Skype. And I'll be right there in the room. So that's fine. Okay? Then Helen will interview David.
So Helen will be interviewed by Aaron at 7:20.
Right.
Okay.
Okay? So 7 o'clock is Aaron, me and Aaron. 7:20, Aaron and Helen. 7:40, Helen, David. 8 o'clock, David. And Ellen, I'm sorry. David and Ellen, right?
Yep, I'll interview Ellen at 8.
Got it. At 8:20, Ellen
Mhm.
and Karen Mitchell. Okay?
Yep.
And then 8:40, Karen Mitchell and Karen Frost. Now we're sort of back on track. Okay? At 9 o'clock, Karen Frost with Mariana Kitts. 9:20, Mariana Kitts, Sharon Kelly. And the only thing that doesn't work there,
Mariana will interview whom?
Mariana has Sharon Keller. Takes us to 9:40. And here's the thing, these will be the times, but I bet we're gonna go over. We will most likely go over. Okay. And then Sharon, this should be the last one, really. You know what, Sharon, I'll work with you. I'll let you interview me. Because we'll be done after that. You all got it? You all clear? Ellen,
When we are complete with interviewing our person,
you can go home.
then we go home.
Yes. Because the other thing is I have to keep you guys around here. I mean, I'm here all night, but you'd all be around, and I have to be in these interviews to hear what you're doing and how you're doing it. Okay. I miss just Terry. So Terry, I'm not bringing you in for this. I can't see you because I'm not looking this way, but I'm not bringing you in for this. It's not an issue. Okay, we got that. Now, going forward after that, after next week, we are going into 4 weeks of Churches of Business. I haven't picked the book yet because I don't want to use this old crappy book that they used to use. And there's some great books out there, and I want to find out which one I want to use. Within Churches of Business, right after that, we will go into leadership. And again, I'm not going to use the Chatterjee book, which is from like the prehistoric days. And there are a couple books I'm looking at, but we'll use one of them. Yeah.
Well, if that's gonna start week after next, by next week, we need to be able to order the book.
Yes. No, I'll get it to you. I'm trying to get. I haven't gotten to Joe Luca yet because we're looking at these two books together. So I'll get it from him.
Okay.
How
many weeks on leadership?
4. Except it might be less because I have to take a look at the time schedule because I'm not letting us go into our orals without more counseling work. Real life counseling.
4 weeks of Churches of Business and then
4 weeks of leadership.
4
Yes.
weeks of leadership.
So it's, you've done all of your work with the science of mind and the history of New Thought and world religions and all. Now this is really about how do you show up as a leader and how do you run a business. Now I'll give you a heads up right now. That way you'll have 2 weeks. The first week of business, you're going to bring in with you a fully realized in Excel budget for a church for the entire year. I want a full budget. Okay? I'm not going to give you any. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I just want to see what you know about business. How do you know? Do you know how to create a budget? Okay, and then we will go over it. So do you know how to use Excel, Marianne?
No.
Okay, you got to get someone to teach you, show you how to use an Excel chart. It's not hard at all. It's actually really simple to use an Excel chart. It adds everything up for you. It really makes it simple.
And when do you want that budget prepared? To be at the beginning of the class?
Not next week, the following week. You're bringing them with you, and then we will talk about it.
Yeah, there are books that have little scenarios that you set up in Excel, and then you just get some practice doing actual things. I think I did that many years ago.
Yeah, and if you don't, you should do it in Excel because that's the standard, the industry standard. But if you need to, was that Karen?
Yep, she went to the wrong room. She's on her way.
Okay, she's on the way.
Hello,
There you
She
are.
is.
Hello, Karen Mitchell.
it's me.
Can't see you.
Hello. Yes.
You're next.
Hang on. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Next week,
Next week.
you are
that
due.
silhouette anyway.
You are due here at. That's you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like the Shroud of Turin. I don't know what's going on. That's not working yet. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not looking at you anyway because my back is to you. Next week, you're due here at 8 o'clock for an interview.
I am?
Yes, it's just that we're doing interviews next week. So if you're due here at 8 o'clock, you will be interviewed by Ellen. and then you will interview, is that right?
Yeah, then
Yeah.
she interviews Karen.
And then you interview Karen Frost, and then you're free to go home. So you'll only be here for about an hour.
Next week I don't have my daughter. I can be there easily. No worries. So
Great. Good. But you'll only be here an hour, so you'll have a nice night off for yourself.
Also,
thank you. What is this interview thing?
Yes, you know what? I'm gonna let Connie give it to you and tell you exactly what it is because I have to keep going. But
Okay.
yeah, it's me, and it's as though I was having the interview with you as a minister.
Yes.
So I have to meet with everybody, but I'm doing it so that you meet with the minister, and first you get your interview, then you become the interviewer.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, and we can talk more about it on Sunday if you want.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And the next thing you missed is the 2 weeks from tonight, you'll bring in a budget. I need to see what you all will do to create a budget for a church. Give it a name, Malibu Church, or just in Malibu, whatever you call it, and do a budget. One of the things we do to our ministers is that we don't let them get out of here knowing how to run a church. They don't have business sense. Okay? No minister should ever be unconscious as to what's going on financially in their church. They should, and frankly, y'all should know how to do this for your own lives. You should all be you should be very business savvy. The other thing is, and I'm just going to ask you to take a look at this. I'm going to want to know your finances. One of the things that I'm going to want to know is, are you financially solvent? Are you prosperous? Do you understand the laws of prosperity? Are you living this science in a way that you are showing up as someone who understands money and lives with the opulence of money? So that's a big part of this. We have a lot of ministers in the field. Why do you think there are so many churches, although now I'm going into church as a business stuff, why do you think there are so many churches that are dying? Because their senior minister has lack consciousness. Because the senior minister doesn't understand money. And so the church, whatever that minister is at the top of the totem pole, that's how the church ends up showing up. It's the consciousness of the senior minister that matters most. So, I can say proudly that this church has never had a year where we've gone crazy and lost money. I mean, we may have gone out of a year in the red and been in the black a month later, but that's not even good enough for me, which is why I continue to teach prosperity, because I continue to grow my own. But you have to be. If we're going to grow this organization, it has to be run by people who know how to use money. So that's why church as a business is so important, and why it's usually left to the end, to get all the spiritual foundation under you, so now you can take all that spiritual foundation and use it when it comes to money and business. It is not going to be acceptable for anyone to leave this training not knowing how to run a business. Really run a business, not just sit around and say, this would be fun, that'd be fun, we should do this. Run a business. So those 4 weeks are going to be unlike most of what we've been doing up to this point. Questions?
No,
Yeah.
on this subject, any subject?
Yeah, that's it. Questions?
Yes.
How'd you like the Oscars?
Fabulous. That Chris Rock really well.
I found them uncomfortable. In the beginning, I was
I liked it.
uncomfortable.
I thought he did good. But anyway, aside from that,
Yeah.
we're going to have a weekend retreat for our orals.
Yes,
Can you please tell
Yes,
us what
I can.
weekend that is going to be?
I can't because Jim Lockhart is not available when I wanted him. Maureen Hoyt's getting back to me with her dates, and I did it with Sharon tonight, and I will talk to Mark Anthony Lord possibly about flying him in to be on the panel.
Where's he now?
Are
He's
there,
moved back to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
are there a couple?
He's now at a Unity Church in Chicago.
What are the weekends in consideration? Just I just wanna
It's
be
the
sure.
last weekend of May, first weekend of June. First weekend.
It's one of those 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm just trying to see when I get the people I want to.
Okay, I just want to be
Are
sure.
we still talking about,
Yes, it's Casa de Maria. It's also up to Casa de Maria to tell me when they have time.
I can throw another question. Is there any, maybe there's some times of coming in and volunteering with you, Connie, maybe having you kind of also kind of show us like some of the back end stuff that you think is important as far as the business?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think that's a good
She's
idea
still
right now. I'm
training.
still putting stuff
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
I mean, she just started in January, really.
Okay, well, I was thinking like if there's any extra things, we could do 4 weeks where.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to cover all of it.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to cover what an administrator is supposed to do, we're going to cover what their duties are, what you may need them to be. Frankly, I still can't wait to get into this side of it, but Every administrator is different because every minister is different. The administrators need to be, your administrator should be the person that can do brilliantly what you can't do. Right? So it's a different administrator. You know?
Are you going to be asking us to do a formal presentation of our personal finances, or are you going to be just doing an interview?
I'm going to talk about them, and then I will meet with you all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be part of the interview?
No.
Oh, it's not,
No,
okay.
this is not part of your interview unless you decide that's one of the questions you want to ask. It's up to you. In religious science, international, to become a minister, you had to give them your tax returns. They were filed before you got to get your license, and you were grilled if you had any financial things in your history that looked, dubious. You were grilled at your orals. But you had to turn in financials and turn in tax returns, and I haven't really thought about that yet. I don't really want to see your tax returns. But I also have to meet with Angelo and talk to him about what he requires from Emerson from me with you guys. And I'm also considering bringing Angelo in from San Francisco to come down and be on the panel, since it is the Emerson Institute licensing.
He's really such a nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I think he would love to do it, especially at Casa de Maria.
So we don't know for sure yet that we think that. Let's hope it's that one of those two.
Yeah.
With regard to the interviews, the questions that you're asking us to prepare in advance, anything that we think is particularly pertinent or something that you want to guide us in?
Put yourself in my position. What do you think you would need to know? And the reason why I'm not telling you is because I want to hear what you guys have. You might come up with something I haven't come up with. So I'm really looking for what you would come up with, and trust me, I will guide you to, if you haven't asked some of the questions that have to be asked, I will ask them. Okay? Now, if that happens with me and Erin, and I'm going to ask her all the questions first. When she moves to Helen, she'll know what I just asked her. So she'll still incorporate, and I'll look at what she's done. But, and then Helen will hear what she's asked, so it should trickle down the road. But if you add something of your own, and you'll turn in your homework to me that night. And I do want it turned in tight.
Which means the interviews will get longer and longer and longer.
I hope not. Bring a book. Bring a snack so that you can hang out in here when they're going on, because they're going to be in my office, not in here. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe they'll be in the practitioner room because there's a closer proximity here. I think probably the practitioner.
We'll still come on Zoom so that you can see both.
Oh, for you it can't be. For you it'll be in my office.
But with it'll have to be on Zoom if you want me to interview Helen. Off at Skype, I don't know.
It will be on Zoom.
Yeah, okay.
For you three. For us two, yeah. Okay, that's it. Helen, Ellen.
One more question.
Ellen, Aaron.
One of those people.
Papers, what do they do?
Oh, thank you. Next one. They are due. I need your theses by May, beginning of May. Beginning. Why you want the end?
Yes.
Well, are we finishing
No,
up?
at least.
Yeah.
May 12th is 30 weeks, so are we
It will be
finishing?
after May 12th. We won't be done until the end of May because we missed weeks. So May 12th isn't 30 weeks because we missed a couple weeks, and it's 32 weeks.
How about May 12th? That's a class that night.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I'll read them over the summer, which is fine for me. Okay, so let's talk about that for 1 second. What is your thesis? And Connie, I need you to write these down so that I can get clear. Can you do it on my computer?
I can actually write nicely.
Well, eventually just write it.
Yeah, I'll type it out.
God, David. So did you already, what is your thesis?
It's basically the obvious. It's incorporating science of mind with what I do in hypnotherapy.
So it's hypnotherapy and the science of mind?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Mariana?
It's St. Teresa of Avila and Hildegard of Bingen and what their philosophy and how they live their life and how it interweaves with science of mind.
Okay, great.
Hildegard and
Bingen.
Could you say it again, Mariana? I want to write them down.
St. Teresa of Avila and Hildegard of Bingen, how their philosophy and how they live their life and how it interweaves and into the philosophy of science of mind.
And they're both Catholics, right?
I believe so, yes.
Well, if they're a saint, they're a Catholic. I don't think the other churches have saints, do they? Do they?
Well, Christian churches
Christians
recognize
do,
saints.
but I think they recognize Catholic saints.
Yeah, they do.
Ellen?
Skip me because I've been flip-flopping, so.
Giving them two. Do you want to tell me what you're flip-flopping between?
Well, one of them that I started, but I'm not sure I want to continue, is it's spiritual lessons in human challenges, and looking at probably the major religions and how what they say about human challenges and what we can learn, what our spiritual lessons are through them.
Okay.
So that's what I started on.
And what are you flip-flopping to? Oh, you don't know?
Yeah.
You just don't know that you want to do
Yeah.
that. Got it. I do want these to be, you gotta have passion. You gotta have passion for these or they're gonna be boring. Because trust me, there were a couple boring ones in the last ministerial class and it was because they really didn't have an idea. So they just kind of picked something and wrote it. Okay. Sharon? Oh, you're still thinking.
I am.
Okay. Karen?
The science of oneness,
Meaning?
meaning an explanation of oneness from the building block of the atom to the application of the food chain.
Oh, that's good. Cool. Okay. Aaron?
The power of consciousness,
Meaning?
meaning, wow, that's a good question.
Well, here's the thing. There are about 1,000 books on that. So what's going to make this different for Aaron?
Well, I've been writing it. It is
Oh, okay, good.
about, there's 7 chapters to it, and it's about how our consciousness is creating everything in our lives right now, and then it actually goes into like how our consciousness is, how it's affecting our life, and what the limited beliefs are, and how it affects consciousness, and then it goes into actually your purpose and calling in life.
What are you using as your references?
I have some scientific references, great,
Books?
yeah.
Okay. Make sure I want footnotes on every page and who you're referencing, and I need a bibliography at the end. Okay. Karen Mitchell?
I know this is a big surprise, but music as ministry.
Music as ministry. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Terry, did you have one that you picked?
He's
He's
muted.
muted.
Connie, you have to unmute him.
No, he muted
No,
himself.
he can unmute himself. He just didn't. There, you're unmuted, Terry.
Terry?
How your thoughts create prosperity.
Okay. Are you using certain books for that?
Yes and no.
Okay. Okay. And then we have to get Helen's. Okay. And I'm fine if these come in on our last class, which I will send you an update on when that is.
How does it work as far as, if our panels, when we pass our panels, and how long till we have the ministerial? Like, if you haven't read this or whatever, how does
Well, your
that
thesis
work?
won't impact your passing. Most theses are theses. Sounds like poop. Most of these things,
Could
yeah, right. Well, we'll see how they read. It's just a culmination of all the work you've done, and many of these become pamphlets. Rita's became a book, her little booklet. That's why I want you to make sure it's something you're passionate about that could be published. That could be someone would be interested in this, and that you have a different take on it. Like Terry, there's 1,000 books out there on prosperity. What's Terry Taylor's take that's going to make it more interesting and relevant? It has to be that. Don't just regurgitate somebody else's book. Don't regurgitate. Just don't find things in history and tell me this is your article. One of the things that has to come out of this class is, why should you be a minister? What do you have to offer this that no one else does? What is the unique? What is your unique thing that says this is why I became a minister?
Could it be something? I'm just curious, because I'm doing this regardless. But could it be something that is not Where could it be like a platform? Could it be a show? Could it be, a CD of meditations? Could it be other things besides a traditional thesis?
Yeah. A show? You're gonna do a show for us?
Yeah. Pony show.
It could be. Just we have to get it approved, pass it by me. Let me know what it is. Okay. I'm excited because in the Essential Earnest Holmes class, everyone's going to we're having a potluck dinner at my house at the end for the whole class, except of course 3 students who are out. Although we'll put them on my television. I'll just put them on my screen, and then they're all having to do a final project where they do some kind of show or something, or a juggling act or something. I don't know what you're going to do. You can hypnotize us all. They're lovely.
Make us stop.
So that's sort of who's doing that?
It's the end of our Essential Earnest Holmes class.
Oh, okay.
Week 10.
What was the class that Sandy busted out her book at the end of the class?
That was mental muscle.
Was it mental muscle or was it the? It was the
Beyond Limits.
Beyond
It was
Limits
Beyond
class
Limits.
with Rita.
Yes.
That was amazing.
By the way, so if you can put the camera on this for Karen and Terry. So if you take a look at this board, this is what 30 people last night, all taking Essential Earnest Holmes. This was their idea of what this science is about.
Did you get me?
Yes, thank you. Okay, it makes sense. I like the way I feel. That thought is creative. Philosophy of embracing paths. It's loving, accepting. It's all about me. Karen Mitchell, they're doing your song. It's all about me. You are a reflection of God, constantly evolving. It kicks my ass. I love that person. And accountable philosophy, oneness, permission to be in charge. You are enough. And I love this. This is great. An owner's manual for our lives. Who was it that said that? I got that wrong.
That was Doug.
It was Doug. It was Doug. Yeah. A logical and intelligent approach to life. Find ourselves. Freedom to choose how to believe and awakening to the self. Authentic truth. Get your act together. Ever evolving I amness. Love that. The answer to everything. Create and take responsibility, and it is done to as you believe. So it was really fascinating to sit here and talk to people. Some of them have never been in a class before. Some of them were in the class just because their partner, or husband or wife dragged them here. It was fascinating. It was really, really fun. And there were about 12 people online besides the room being full. So it was a great, great night. And just so you know, every person in this class can take any of these classes this year for free. You don't pay for any classes other than Ministerial. You online this?
No, I didn't
she
get the
wasn't.
word,
She didn't get the word before class started, so.
because I would have been online, but I was waiting for the,
I didn't tell her yes she could join, because I hadn't asked to yet.
No, but everyone in this
Every
class can
class.
take, yeah, you can go watch it. It's recorded.
Yeah.
because I was like waiting and
Oh yeah, no, everyone
I didn't
here can take it.
is it the same number from Troward?
Yeah, you could have gone on the same.
No, it's not the same, it's different. We're using the 2301 so that we have to circulate.
Oh, great, okay.
I did not know that either. I
I would have
I'd love to join that. That's great.
I'll put it on, I will put it on this batch of notes here.
Great, okay, good.
Are you doing Science Mind, the big textbook?
The Essential Earnest.
Essential Earnest Holmes.
And what chapters did you cover last night? Or
None.
None? Oh, good. Okay.
That's what we did last
That's
night.
what we did last night.
So what are
Everyone
the,
spoke for 2 hours. So I had the same,
oh, that's great. So for next week, then chapters 1 and 2?
just chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
I heard you say, okay, everybody's gonna speak for about 1 minute.
I know, and then
And I knew that was going out the window
I gave up.
after
It
the
was
first
such
after
a
the
big
first person.
class. There was no way you were getting through that.
And everyone took their time.
They did.
Margaret Owen said to me today, because she was online, she said, after about the third person, I thought to myself, I have 2 choices here. I think I can either blow my brains out or just get into it.
Get into it.
So I gave into it. She said, we're not doing that again, right? I was like, once was enough. But I loved it. I
That was
personally
nice.
loved it.
Yeah.
Because everybody, and you see how long everybody stayed afterwards? Because everybody heard everybody just interconnected. And that's what we need to teach. Terry, now you need to mute.
I got it.
Okay. Oh, no,
I got it.
As a teacher, you must find ways for your class to bond. It keeps them engaged. It makes them feel it just the feeling element of it is so much better when people are interested in what Karen has to say, and then they see them in church. It builds community. You know, if you just come into a class and think you're going to teach them, that's not a good way to approach anything as a teacher. You know, I was there to be taught just as much as they were.
That's right.
And they taught the class last night. So
Yeah, they did.
I know, right? So, okay, on to the test.
I didn't get mine back yet.
Oh, shoot. We gotta get you up to the modern world. Gotta start doing things on computers and
I
stuff.
did my PowerPoint. That was.
I know, more than PowerPoint. I mean,
Well,
like, computer.
considering I taught myself.
That was
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty
a
good.
leap.
Really, right?
Karen, I'm working on your
Thank you.
transcript. I just haven't had a chance to get all of the stuff together yet.
Most of the stuff that we do on computers is very basic stuff. It's not hard to learn at all. So anytime you need a little help, I'll be happy to help.
Thank you.
Anybody here can do it. We're not doing, trust me, I'm not a computer geek at all. And the stuff we do is pretty much basic. It's easy to learn.
Well, I taught myself Word too, so that was pretty good.
It's pretty much all you need, almost.
Yeah, Word.
Excel now.
Now Excel.
Excel's not.
I like
You
Excel.
can do it. It won't be hard.
Really?
You have these different cells, and you can
Well, I have it on my, thank God, when I got my computer, I did get like a package deal. So I have Excel, PowerPoint, Word.
well, like in Excel, say you put 50 in some line item is 50 in one column. You can put the word and you can put what the item is or something. You can do that. Lengthwise and across the top, maybe categories. And then if you want that multiplied by a certain amount, like maybe 12 months, for example, the next, you can do another cell and put in the calculation for cell number 1 times 12. There's a way, it's easy, it's not hard to do.
And if you want to fudge it a little bit, what you can do is you can get somebody to set it up for you, because once it's set up, it's automatic.
All right, everyone.
What is the actual number?
I mailed you your test results a week. I sent you an email. Heartfelt kits.
Yeah.
Do you check your emails every day?
Not every day now. I've been out and about.
One of the things that's really important for you guys, if you really want to be a minister, you're going to have to really stay current with all forms of electronics and technology, because you will be lost in the dust if you don't stay current in what's going on.
I'm happy to come early a little bit on Thursday nights if people bring their computers in, and I can at least show some things I know, because I do a lot of work online. So.
Or take Karen's next class, which is
So what are you gonna do?
You have to
We're gonna figure out a date.
We haven't picked a date yet. Okay, so let's just go over the test. Okay, we're gonna start with David. I was just gonna read a question, give you the answer. If you have a question, tell me. Okay, so number 1.
Number 1, what were the precepts of the Metaphysical Club of Boston? Answer D, all of the above. You want me to read all the above?
Yeah, I want us all to hear this.
To promote interest in and the practice of a true philosophy of life and happiness, to show that through right thinking, one's loftiest ideals may be brought into present realization, to advance intelligent and systematic treatment of disease by spiritual and mental methods, and D, all of the above. Which
Anybody
is the
get that
correct
wrong?
answer.
Okay, what did you put?
I put A.
Well, you were right, whatever you put, you just didn't get the other one. Because it's all of the above. So if you picked one, you still got that part right, but it's the rest. Which one did you pick?
Well, you gave me a point off that.
Because you got it wrong. The answer was all of the above. I just mean that any one of them is correct, you just have to have known that they were all. And you just picked one too.
I picked C because I didn't think that they had sort of evolved to the point of
Right.
some of the for A and B. So
That's what I thought.
Right out of the book, exactly what they teach. Okay, number 2, Mariana.
The transcendentalists taught. I put idealism, which was wrong, and so
The answer is A.
I was going to say.
Supremacy of mind over matter.
matter.
Thoughts are things, as Ernst told you, universal oneness is Schroeder, idealism is Emerson. If you're going to look at each one of those 2 who they represent. Okay, Sharon?
Three, who is considered the father of New Thought? And since Quimby wasn't on there, I put Ralph Waldo Emerson B.
Which is correct, which is what we say Quimby, but in the world, the father of New Thought is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And that's what it says in Spirits and Rebellion. And I didn't put Quimby on there so as to not confuse you.
Not confuse us.
Yes. Yeah, I had him in there and I went, oh, everyone's going to write Quimby. Yeah. Yes, Ellen?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Karen?
What religion did Mary Baker Eddy found? C. Christian Science.
Did anyone get that wrong? Okay. Go ahead. Karen?
Number 5, what does Emerson's essays contain the following quote? I hope in these days we have heard the last of conformity and consistency. Answer D. I got it right. Woohoo, self-reliance.
I have
Great.
it.
Okay. Karen Mitchell? Are you in there?
Okay, yes, sorry, it took me a second to unmute. Okay.
You guys can keep it unmuted if you just don't throw things around your room.
Okay. All right. Who was the founder of divine science? And the answer was D.
Right, great. Terry? Did you unmute Terry?
I'll do that right now.
Okay. Who was responsible for introducing animal magnetism? Obviously B, Misner.
Right, David?
Number 8, what was the earliest recognizable New Thought group? The answer is B, the Metaphysical Club of Boston.
Yes, however, if you wrote the Transcendentalists, I gave it to you. Sharon Kelly argued that.
What did it mean if I don't take my word?
Terry?
Yeah.
Nothing.
You know what? You're gonna have to keep muting yours because your room's loud. Okay, thanks. The Metaphysical Club of Boston actually does predate the Transcendentalists, but when I researched it, the Transcendentalist was an idea. They were a group that weren't really the Transcendentalists. They didn't get the term even until after the Metaphysical Club of Boston was already established. But they sort of did already exist. They just weren't a group yet. The first group was the Metaphysical Club
I
of
want to
Boston.
hear Sharon's argument. What was that?
That was her argument that they
Well,
predated.
the Transcendentalist was in the 1830s, and the Metaphysical Club of Boston was in the 1890s.
Not that much.
So
No.
when Emerson, yes,
I thought it was the 50s, 1850s.
no.
You're the Pope, so.
that was a very solid no.
Oh, I know. But anyway, I did go back and research
It
it.
could be 1888, but it's like near 1890, and which was long after Emerson's time.
The problem was that they didn't really call the Transcendentalist moniker didn't come till way later. They weren't anything. They were just a group.
Right.
The first real club, the first real organization was the Metaphysical Club of Boston.
That's right.
Okay, who's up?
Mariana.
Oh, no, sorry.
Who was responsible for
Which of these?
Number 9.
Number 9. Which of these Emerson essays contains a concise statement of omniscient power? C. The Oversoul.
Right.
Okay, which of these quotes is from Emerson? And the answer is B. Whosoever would be a man must be a nonconformist.
And that is from which essay?
That would be from Self-Reliance.
Correct.
You marked me wrong on that, and I have B.
You do? Let me see. Oh, I did, sorry. You get an extra point.
Thank you.
That means you get a 91. Because I
Extra that.
recall that you had a 90.
I got a 91.
Just-
Unless you
I know.
Unless you find more answers that I got wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, 11. Who had that?
I just read the
Sharon,
last
you're up.
Oh, mine is okay. The Transcendentalists had which as their central belief?
Wait, aren't we skipping one?
No.
We just did 10.
We did 10, we're on 11.
But isn't there one, which of these quotes is from Emerson?
Yeah, we just did that. That was B. Whosoever would be a man must be a nonconformist from self-reliance.
Okay. Sorry. I have mucus brain. I'm sorry. I still have mucus brain. Okay.
She's sick. Sharon?
The transcendentalists had wishes or central belief. A, intuition as a conduit to all knowledge.
That's correct.
Which of the following was not a transcendentalist? B, Phineas P. Quimby.
Correct. He predates.
Who are the founders of Unity? C, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore.
Correct. Karen?
Who is me, Karen Mitchell?
Yep.
Who is considered the teacher of teachers? Emma Curtis Hopkins, C.
All right. Terry?
Emmett Fox was a minister in what branch of New Thought?
No.
15.
You just went to number
Oh,
15.
I'm sorry. I must miss that page. I don't have it.
All right, David.
Which of the following was considered the greatest influence on Ernest Holmes? The answer is C, Judge Thomas Troward.
Phineas P. Quimby wrote, "Man is made up of truth and belief." A.
Correct. And you got it right.
I'm glad.
I guess wrong.
I guess wrong.
We're up to 17.
Did everybody guess, or did anybody know that answer?
I knew it.
I got it right.
I did.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
Ellen?
17, right?
Yes.
All right. William James is the author of what influential New Thought book? That would be A, As a Man Thinketh.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon?
Which of the following religions is not considered New Thought? C, Christian Science.
Okay, so I had a number of you wrote Unity. Unity is,
Yeah.
is a New Thought church.
Yes.
In Unity and religious science, ministers can go back and forth, just as smart Anthony Lord, go back and forth between those churches. I speak at the one in New York. It is Christian Science. Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy was very clear, it is not a New Thought church, it is closed at the top, and this is all we are, and we are not a part of you. Okay?
Yeah,
Just
that
very
was
clear.
her decision.
Hers, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because we actually point to Christian Science as part of the evolution of New Thought.
Right.
They don't like being pointed at. Okay. Sorry.
19. Raymond Charles Barker is the author of the following books. D, all of the above.
That's
So
correct.
it's The Science of Success Living, Loving as God in Action, Keep Yourself Alive.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Karen, which one?
Yes.
That's you.
Emmett Fox was a minister.
Every
What?
time Karen speaks, you're next.
Every time Aaron speaks,
You're next.
so it goes Aaron and Karen.
Aaron,
Okay. Emmett Fox was a minister of what branch of New Thought? C.
Did I give you all the correct answers when you got it wrong? I didn't.
Yeah, I picked A, which was wrong.
Why did you know? How did you know it was C?
Because you said C in red on my test.
Yeah, you put D on mine, and I looked it up, and it is.
I put D?
Yeah, you put D on mine.
No, it's C.
Divine
Yeah, I know.
Science.
I was doing yours on the plane.
I got it wrong. I got B.
Yeah,
That was the turbulence talking.
I was coming back from the conference. I was not in a good mood.
Oh.
Right, Karen?
I'm glad you.
not because of the music.
Well, the music, I also didn't particularly care for the choice of music, but I thought the singing
I know.
was
I know. Me too. All right, we'll move on.
Oh.
Emmett Fox is one of the biggest names in New Thought.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
to be clear, he kept divine science on the map.
yes.
Wow.
You know, but since him,
Yeah, what's up with this?
there's no divine science practice.
Right.
Because we are not. New Thought is not driven by the religion. They are driven by the names. The reason why religious science has done so well is, think about it. Ernest Holmes was a very big name. Raymond Charles Barker even trumped Ernest Holmes, and he was the big name in religious science in New York at Lincoln Center. You know, so it's why right now religious science is kind of dying. There's nobody out there that's a big name in religious science,
Michael Beckwith is kind of.
except he doesn't speak religious science. No one knows he's a religious science minister. They think he's an agape minister.
Yeah.
He's pretty clear he wants that.
Which I have to say, interrupting here, but I have to say, I thought it was a bit odd at the conference that we're doing all this music and all this stuff from Michael Beckwith, who doesn't belong to our organization.
Yeah.
Because he's a big name.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't know, I'm sorry. I just have to say it. It's like, he's the guy on Oprah. So, ooh, let's do some of his wife's songs because that's going to make us very popular. But honestly, he's not with our organization. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a bit odd. You know, it's a bit personality centered in my mind, you know?
So, I mean, but you just have to get that. It's not about the teaching. It should be about the teaching.
Yeah.
It's about the churches come and go based on who's at the top, who's running the church.
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you want to go to a church that's run by a boring minister, even because they're teaching what you want to hear? No. Like the guy said last night in class. How did he say that? Bitch. Kill me, bitch. Something like that. This kid in class last night, he's in his late 20s, I guess. He says, I went to, and I won't say the church now, because I went to that church because my husband's like, we got to do religious science. We got to do religious science. He's like, I sat through that church. I was like, kill me, bitch. This is horrible. I can't sit here. I'm bored to tears. It's not going to work without somebody in there.
There's so much truth to that. If I had gone to a different religious science church and not this one, there's no way that I would have ever
Sure,
continued.
I walked into North Hollywood Church, and I never went back. Kevin and I were like, oh, no. They had robes they were doing walking down the aisle. I was like, where did we just come? It wasn't until we saw David Walker that I went, okay. Same church, different people.
Marty and I went to a new religious science center every week, and we really thought, I was like, oh, there's like 40 here. I have choices. They're going to be great. And they were all boring. And I was like, what am I going to do? I found this place at the very end.
Until they came to me, and then I insulted them on their first step. Other than that, it's been a great change. Okay, so that was worth, every one of those was worth half. Actually, that you didn't get a 90. You got a 90.5. They're each worth half a point. So you got 90.5 at this point if nothing else changes. Okay, so if you look at what you got there, please write down how many points you got in that section. So if it's 10, because I have the list of all of your points of what you got, but I only gave you your final grade.
So then if it's 7.5, I can make it 8.5.
No,
No.
7.5, you can make it 8.
8.
Okay, so Judge Thomas Troward, where did we leave off? Terry, did we leave off with you? Was it
No.
Karen?
Karen's turn, isn't it?
Okay, hit it.
Mitchell,
Yeah.
order is
Did you stop talking, or did you? Hold on, order.
first law, true.
Okay, good. Order is heaven's first law, true. Now remember this, folks. When you're taking a section that says Judge Thomas Troward, it means that these questions are relating to who? Judge Thomas Troward. So if you're going to argue something with me, check in with yourself first to see if you're arguing with me what Ernest
Oh
told us.
God, you're all frozen. Sorry, you're all frozen
Matter is the necessary polar opposite.
now. Hang on.
Connie, check this for them.
I'm sorry, I'm having internet problems here.
Can you hear us now?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's just Karen.
It's just Karen.
It's just her feed, yeah. Because ours is logged in.
Go ahead, Terry.
Matter is the necessary polar opposite of spirit. False.
No, that's true.
Isn't everything spirit?
No. Who would like to explain that? Aaron, go ahead.
Again, we're talking about Judge Thomas Troward. So, when in the book, he talks a lot about how it's in the polarity, it's to complete the full demonstration, all the way to the creative process, all the way from spirit, all the way to form, and it's in the polarity of it. So I think that it could be confusing if until you get to the specific teaching.
This sentence is the precursor to Thoughts Are Things in Ernest Holmes. Okay? In order for something, the polar opposite means the polar opposite represents the flip side of that which is cause and effect.
Right.
So matter is the necessary polar opposite of spirit, cause and effect. That's what that sentence says. Okay, and this is the way Thomas Troward taught it at the time. So that's true. Okay, David?
Hang on just a second.
For the most part, I corrected your test by telling you what the answer was.
You did.
In red.
Right.
Try doing that on the plane.
The absolute is the relative depending on our belief. Without belief, the relative is that which is separate from the absolute. False.
Why?
Because the relative is the absolute on the level of the relative. It cannot be separate from the absolute. The absolute is everything.
Right. So some of you didn't catch it, that nothing is separate from the absolute, or else you're living in duality. Okay? Okay, Mariana?
The active ingredient in mental treatment is faith. True.
Right. What is the active ingredient in mental treatment according to Ernest Holmes?
Feeling. And
That's
that's,
Mariana.
oh, I'm sorry. Well, the reason I said that is because that's when I took the practitioner test, I put faith, you said it was feeling. So
And
when
this time did you put feeling?
I put feeling and it was faith.
Well, it's good for you to know. Thomas Troward says faith, Ernest Holmes says feeling. Ultimately, they mean the same thing.
True.
But as a minister, you need to know this if you're going to be teaching these two men together. Okay? Go ahead. Ellen?
Me? Inductive reasoning works from cause to effect.
Us?
Because
False.
Yes. Why?
because inductive reasoning always works from already established premise. I mean, from out in.
Yes, that's it. From out in. Yes, inductive reasoning means you are doing an inquiry into the facts to figure out what's going on. Deductive reasoning is coming from an already established premise. Okay? Sharon?
We must regard our mental creations as absolutely possible in terms of future demonstration. False.
Because?
It's because it's not in the future, it's immediate.
Right. A lot of you got tricked by that one.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm. I did.
We must regard our mental creations as absolutely possible in terms of immediate demonstration, not future demonstration.
But it might be future demonstration in divine timing.
Yes, it is. But in your treatment, it's never the future. It's always now.
Always now.
But it doesn't say in treatment.
It says we must regard our mental creations as
We're creating all the time, aren't we?
Now.
We're creating all the time.
Of course, it's possible in future.
If you said to me, in treatment, we must regard our mental creations as absolutely possible.
I'm not going to give you this. You must, whether you're treating or not, you must know it is done now. It's never in the future. Now, you can say, and I have an issue with this too, all these people that say, well, there's a process to this. That process can put the time between you and the demonstration that stays in process for the rest of your life. Because people talk about that all the time. Well, there's a process to this. We must be absolutists as practitioners and ministers. When I speak my word, it is done now. What I know, I need to know now.
That's not what the sentence says.
Read it again.
We must.
We go real slow.
I will.
We
must
must
regard our mental creations as absolutely possible. That's the part I think is the kicker.
Right.
Absolutely possible in terms of future demonstration.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, everything is possible.
The phrase comes from Troward. This is from Troward's exact phrase.
But Troward didn't say future them because
He
we're
said
saying that
immediate.
Troward didn't say that.
But
that doesn't mean making it future. It doesn't make this an untrue statement.
Can be true in the future.
So
but that's not how we. But that's not how we must regard our mental creations.
But it's absolutely possible. If I am saying we must regard our mental creation as absolutely possible, regardless of what the end of that sentence is.
Well, if it ended there, you'd be fine. But it didn't. It said in terms of future demonstrations, and that is incorrect. If I put a period after absolutely possible, you could say true.
I think it's the word future that bothers me because divine timing has no past, present, or future. So
Divine timing has no past, present, or future, but as a practitioner, you know it's right now, here and now, immediate. There's no future. There's not a later.
in treatment.
Anytime, in mind. Your mind is always treating, whether you're doing it deliberately or not. We would all do well to stop putting things off to the future in our minds and know that it's right here, right now, including prosperity, success, all of it. I think one of the reasons why so many people don't demonstrate is because they're always thinking it's going to happen down the road. And it's so possible down the road. That's why somebody said to me recently, it was Sean in the Trower class when he said, I hate hearing anybody tell me something's possible. I don't want to hear that it's possible. I want to know it's done.
And he also used the word potential. He doesn't
He
like
hates
that
the word
word
potential.
potential.
Too. Okay, next. Who's up?
The first principle of no, am I ahead? Yeah, the first principle of the creative principle is harmony. True.
That's true. Yep. Aaron.
Number 8.
Mm-hmm.
The universal mind works by a law of averages for the advancement of the race. I got it wrong, so it's false.
Why is it false?
Because you have certainty. So the universal mind works by a law of averages.
What works by the law of averages?
The law of averages was when he was talking about what the harmony, like we have harmony, like there's almost like it doesn't work because if we have an average, right? Isn't that what he talked about?
No. What is the law of averages?
Obviously I got it wrong, so I got that wrong.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't know the answer.
No, I know. I'm trying, I thought that's what it was. I thought the law of averages was when he talked about that there is like a standard on consciousness as far as because what
is the law of averages though?
I thought it was when it's the law of averages.
In regular life, what's the law of averages? Not Trower. Although it's the same thing. Sharon.
Like what most people think, or
But what is it?
it's like
The culture
average,
consciousness,
maybe it's
right?
like mathematically averaging that some people think this and that, but the average is that doesn't mean middle
Statistics.
somewhere.
It's like statistics.
Yeah.
Hey,
Who said principle is not bound by precedent? Precedent is the law of averages. Precedent, this is the precedent because this is how it's always worked out.
Yeah,
The
that's
law of
like
averages
yeah.
works something out based on the averages. If 50 people feel this and 20 people feel this, then the 50 people have the law of averages. They're at the top.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Right.
That's what-
So the universal mind works by the law of averages for the advancement of the race? No.
No.
We do. We allow ourselves to be touched by that. The universal mind works by the law of certainty. The universal mind works by the law of certainty for the advancement of the race.
Race consciousness would work by the law of averages.
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah.
the economy's bad, all these people are,
And so it
Losing
starts to
money,
get even worse because everybody falls into the law of averages.
Yeah.
And therefore they live their life based on that. This is what I can expect, so this is what will happen.
I guess I read that wrong because I felt like when I was reading Tom Stewart that yes, of course, the individual mind, the individual advances the race, but I also thought that he was saying that we do have a law of averages that at least keeps us in survival. So I did think it in some way we advance through that as well. That's why I just didn't understand.
But it says the universal mind. It doesn't say the individual mind. So the universal mind, remember, the individual is the universal, but what does the individual mind have that the universal mind doesn't need?
Conscious mind.
Take that a little further, Volition. Universal mind just does from a place of perfection. We choose, which is why some of you got this. I didn't give it to you wrong, by the way, but on the chart, deductive reasoning is not just in the middle. Man can think both deductively and inductively, so it needs to be unconscious mind, and subjective mind. Right? A law only deducts, only reasons deductively, only says yes from an already established premise of being able to always respond perfectly to whatever comes through. We get to say, we get to figure it out or know from an intuitive no. So we can work by the law of averages, or we can work by a law of certainty. How many people, in the face of all the stuff that's going on, still are capable of saying, no, I don't care how many of you say that's the way it is. For me, it's like this, and then change the direction. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, who's next?
Me.
Okay.
The two attributes of spirit are selection and initiative. True.
Yes. Now that's true, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go on.
Relative first cause is an action of the creative principle in the individual mind. True.
Where are you?
10.
Number 10.
Read it again.
Relative first cause is the action of the creative principle in the individual mind. True.
True, yes. Great. Okay. So in this one too, you got a half a point off for everyone. So you'll deduct it out of that. That's up to.
I have. It's 1.5.
Now,
Wait a minute. 5 points. 1.5. Okay.
so Helen's not here. Oh well, this is a different one. So you were to choose 5. These are by Trower. Helen answered all 8, and then went on to answer all 15 of our songs, which was a pretty good way of covering her bases.
I thought about doing that.
Then even if she got one wrong, I just chose the 10 she got right. So, yeah. Divine ideal. Did I write on anybody's paper great answer?
No.
No? Okay, Sharon, what did you get?
The divine ideal is that a perfect God who man being in the solid mind of interacting with others.
Okay. Karen Frost, what did you have?
For divine ideal,
Uh-huh.
is to experience life from the Christ consciousness or the fifth kingdom. Each individual can choose to recognize that they were born to live a joyful life and experience a life in this way. One who understands that they are the unlimited potential of the universe experiences the divine ideal.
Did anyone get this wrong?
I'm still looking.
Page 8.
No, she did hers in different way. Okay.
You
But
didn't write anything on mine.
Right. So that is what the divine ideal is the Christ consciousness. It is that perfection that is within all things. It is the fifth kingdom. It is that thing that knows that it is at the fullness of itself. Okay? Order is heaven's first law. If I wrote on your thing, good answer. Okay, Karen.
The universe is designed for its energy to express in harmony. Our own solar system acts as an example of this. The law of gravity pertains to the distance of the planets from each other, their sun, and their moons. Earth itself is an example of the harmony of the distance from the sun and size of the planet to create the opportunity for life to express. Life expresses in perfect harmony, with each life form perfectly designed to allow for prolonged survival in relationship to one another. The food chain is an example of this, as well as the human body.
Great answer.
Damn.
That was a great answer. I think I wrote that, didn't I?
You wrote well said.
Now, I also need you to tell me if I wrote on your thing that you don't understand this, and we'll talk about it in class. Okay? Okay, law of tendency. Did anyone answer that? Yeah, Mariana, what do you?
Whatever the tendency of my mental attitude is, it will show up in my body of affairs. The tendency of my mind will be the tendency of my life. As the tendency of my mind knows that only good is always happening, then regardless of an appearance to the opposite, because my tendency of mind is focused on the good, good will unfold.
Okay, great. So I think everyone was pretty clear on that. Secondary. Did anyone have secondary causation as a wrong?
Oh.
Did I say well done to anyone? Okay, David, read yours.
Secondary causation is the recognition that the mind of man has the tendency to use the creative process in a way that does not always serve his best interest. He will make decisions and create emotional reactions in life on beliefs based on false premises and misinformation that he accepts as truth, often created by race consciousness. These will create effects that then are used as evidence to support the false basic premise, therefore creating another effect. And the cycle will tend to continue thusly until truth is introduced and accepted by the mind.
That's a great answer.
Great answer.
I should have written that down. Great answer.
Thank you.
What I'm looking for there is secondary causation is using the creative process to create from the facts. I'm looking for the effects here, folks.
That my first sentence.
Okay, I'm not saying anybody got it wrong.
No, I'm just saying, so
Yeah.
thinking from the effect.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay, the personal factor. Anybody get a good job? No? Okay, Ellen, you want to read yours?
I
You
didn't
didn't
have that.
answer that. Did you answer it, Erin?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And wait, what did I write on yours?
A -1.
So you got this wrong. So read it.
The personal factor includes initiation and selection. This is a great exception. This is the great exception. This means that mankind is able to innovate and invent incredible things. A good example of this is the airplane. Until man was able to combine an engine with steel and aerodynamic engineering, they were not able to fly. However, with the personal factor, they were able to create a flying airplane.
Yeah, I don't know what you said in that answer. What is the personal factor?
I thought it was initiation and selection.
What does that mean to you?
That means that there's so many elements in the universe and how I combine those through my initiation of what, love the back end. I put them into an innovation, into an invention, or to however I use it to create that into this life.
Yeah, it's still not following it necessarily. Did you write?
I did not.
Did you do the personal factor, Ellen? Karen Mitchell, did you do the personal factor?
I do.
Karen Mitchell?
She shook
She-
her head no.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Sharon, read yours.
Mine are always a lot shorter than.
Well, I did say be concise.
The personal factor in creation is our use of our individualized mind to create using divine intelligence filtered through our own perceptions.
Very concise. Yeah. What I'm looking for is the personal factor is how your personality plays into your ability to make decisions based on beliefs that you have that are yours. So my personal factor is how I bring myself individually into a situation and cause things based on my whole persona, my belief systems, my feelings, my emotions. And so none of you answered this question. Did you answer?
Yes.
Oh, what did you write?
The personal factor is the individualization of the creative process, allowing the one mind to be experienced in a unique and individualized way. While any two or more people may be experiencing a similar event, each will perceive and understand that event in his own unique way, unlike any other.
It sounds like that's what Aaron was saying.
Read it again. I just, how you said it, I didn't, it's not about initiation and selection. You have to explain what that means.
Or your own personalized. Well, I don't know.
No, that, you have to explain that in the answer,
Well, initiation could be construed as the creative process,
Yeah.
right?
and then selection would be construed as the individual selecting how they perceive that creative or how they utilize that creative process.
Well, I could make sense out of it, but she has to make sense.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Read the answer again, the way you wrote it.
The personal factor includes initiation and selection. This is the great exception.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, that's what he talked about in the book a lot, was about, it was the whole first chapter was about how it is through our personal factor that we get to, as the mankind, the race, that's what makes us distinct, that we actually are creating on a whole new level.
What is the great exception?
The personal factor is the great exception. That's what he says in the book. And then
What do you mean by that? What
I
does
mean,
he mean
it's-
by that?
this is the exception of the creative force, that our individual use of it is what is the great exception. Like the universe that gets to, there is a harmony to all of it. And the great exception within me is that I get to create not only my experience of it, but I get to actually innovate and create and invent things that have never been created in this universe at all because of my personal factor.
So That sounds closer to the answer, but it's not exactly what you wrote. Because what you wrote, I didn't understand what you meant. And it's important for you to be able to write in a way that we understand what you mean. Okay, everybody know what that is now? The personal factor? Yes? Okay, personality as it pertains to the creative process. So everybody answer that. No? Karen Mitchell, did you?
No.
No one took personality?
I did.
Oh, did you get it right?
No, you mean -1.
Okay, so read it. Go ahead, read it. What you wrote.
Okay, so it said, according to Trower, the moment the self contemplates spirit is the contemplating itself. The spirit is itself.
Okay, hold on. So, yeah. Read it again, because I don't know what you just said.
The moment the self contemplates spirit, it is contemplating itself. This creates our personality. He teaches that our personality sets the creative process into action. It is in our beingness that we instantaneously set polarity into action, attracting or repelling away the uninformed substance which sets in motion the law of motion.
It's hard to understand what you just said. And it's not, this, whatever you said in the beginning, you said, this is, personality is not me contemplating spirit. Actually, I think it's the reverse in some senses. If I'm going to sit and contemplate spirit and God, I'm actually going to drift further away from my personality and into a more, a oneness factor. You know, that's what you're kind of describing there. Personality, as it pertains to the creative process, would mean, what is personality? It is all the individual beliefs and feelings and emotions that I have that I then, as I take into the creative process, affects it. My beliefs affect the creative process. The creative process is listening to beliefs. So as if I use it, it's answer. You can use the same words as me, but your personality will affect the way those words are received, because the universal mind will only receive those words from the essence of it, not from the words.
See, I feel like I'm saying exactly what you said. So I obviously have to break down with my writing. I feel like I mean, what you said, I totally agree with, and I feel like I'm saying the same thing.
Read it again.
According to Trower, the moment the self contemplates spirit. So this is the same thing that you
Self
just said.
contemplates spirit. Go ahead.
It is contemplating itself. So just what you said beliefs.
Contemplating itself.
You said you said personality.
Oh, wait, I just want to do what you wrote. The moment the self contemplates spirit, it is contemplating itself.
Yeah, into beingness, into its
Okay,
personality.
okay, that's still not personality yet. So go on.
Okay, it creates our personality. We're creating our personality by just how we even view ourselves and what we contemplate in our belief system. That creates our personality.
No, but where does that come from, I think? To me, it comes from our experiences in our childhood and our atmosphere and our all that, like external stuff that makes us have a personality in the first place.
That would be causation if it came from that.
Well, our personality does come from that.
And from a secondary causation.
Personality is the way we relate to everything that happens. So my personality is developed based on my reaction too, so it is secondary. What you're describing is oneness, primary, first causation. I'm going to contemplate spirit, but personality is an individual thing, not a universal thing.
I totally agree.
But you didn't write that. You actually wrote the opposite. Because if you're going to talk about I'm contemplating spirit and knowing myself as that, that's not personality. Personality is the individual's culmination of beliefs and tendencies and all that.
Or it talks about the moment you contemplate spirit, you're making that duality. You're putting the actual physical form, your personality in place. The moment you contemplate spirit in your relationship as spirit, it automatically creates the personality in that moment, because it is making the polar opposite as he describes.
I don't think Toward says that in the chapter. That's not how he describes personality. You should go back and read that again. I will too, but yeah. Okay, fifth kingdom.
Okay. Can I just say one more thing about the personality thing? Because I did not answer this, but
aren't you glad you didn't?
No, I wish I had. I was so tired and it was late. But the point is that to me, our personality actually affects the creative process or pertains to the creative process. Like one man's treasure is another man's trash. Like what I would create for me comes from what I think is really cool, but like what James Mellon would create is something what he, personality-wise, would think is very cool. So the creative process, actually, we can use individually.
Yeah.
I know that was what was profound about that chapter, was that he was saying that we twice in our personality just by our contemplation of
personalities and what we really think is awesome, we're going to want to create those individual things. So
Yes.
personality does affect the creative process, make us happy. Anyway, that's what I was, and now we're all frozen.
Absolutely does. In fact, I mean, Karen Frost is going to use the creative process very differently than Aaron. They come from
Right.
different worlds, very
Right.
different personalities, the two of you, right? So it's going to happen differently based on now. However, what you described was if the two of you get together and go to the beach and sit on the ocean. I'd like to see that. Sit on the and look out at the ocean, and the two of you take your mind to such a high place of that fifth kingdom and become one with all of this. Now you're both very similar. Now you're in the oneness. Oneness also then forms into multiplicity, and multiplicity is where personality shows up.
Right. Cool.
Fifth kingdom.
The fifth kingdom. In Trower's order of levels of consciousness, there are 5 kingdoms: plant, animal, human, intellect, and the fifth kingdom, which is the awareness that all is one, divine unity of all that is.
Great, excellent. I love that. I love that you gave us all of it straight up the line.
What were the 5 again? I didn't answer them.
Plant, animal, human, intellect, and the fifth kingdom, which is oneness.
And intellect is once you get to plant, animal, human, intellect really is self-consciousness. When man became aware of himself.
Right.
As an entity, as I think, therefore I am. And then the fifth kingdom is when man realized, oh my God, I think, therefore I am all of this.
Right.
Isn't it also Christ consciousness?
Yes, it is. But Christ consciousness gets bantered around so much that we need to actually make sense out of what that is. Okay, the inverted use of the creative process. I think somebody, did I write that on yours, Karen? Good answer. Who did you inverted use? Okay, sure.
Somebody else did it?
I'm sure everybody did it.
Well, Ellen did it too. Okay. This is using our creative power to manifest things in our lives that are not what we want and are not ideal. This is how events perceived as evil are created, which is the misuse of the creative and the use of the creative power.
And that's all I was really looking for. The misuse of that which is creative. Okay? Okay, so in that one, you were to pick 5 and there were 2 points each. So if I took 1 off, it's because I thought you sort of, if I say -1, I gave you half credit for those. Okay?
The max is 10 points.
Right. Okay, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now, I did not take off if you didn't get,
The essay.
oh, I wrote it. No, I got, you had to write the essay. But if you didn't tell me what, I'm sorry, if you didn't tell me what the essay was, if it was from, you got half a point off for that answer. I think 1 point I took you off. Yeah.
So because I had, in nonconformity, I actually had written self-reliance, but because I didn't see it here.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take it off your test.
You did, yeah. Because what I did, I crossed it out.
Oh, well,
because I thought it was, oh, it's not there. So I thought, oh, and I didn't stick to it. So
you should have stuck to it. Always go with your first answer when you're taking a test, they tell you.
Even if it's not listed here.
Yeah, but I didn't, let me see the page. I don't think I took anything off.
I put self-reliance even though it wasn't on there.
Many of you put
Right.
self-reliance even though it wasn't on there. I should have given you extra points.
Right, and
you only
I-
get 10 extra points anyway.
Haha!
And I had.
Give me an extra point.
You can see self-reliance there, but I crossed it out because I didn't see it there. So I thought, oh, maybe I'm wrong. But my whole answer was based around self-reliance.
I'd have to read your essay. Read yours then for nonconformity.
All right. In his essay, Self-Reliance, Emerson recognized the importance of being your own person, taking responsibility.
Wait, you say self-reliance?
I just said,
In the
I
answer?
originally said self-reliance, but
Read
then
what you have exactly written. Don't read in what you don't have written there.
in his essay, Emerson recognized the importance of being your own person, taking responsibility for all your actions and not conforming to what society says is the right way, or how to give to the poor or needy, or what social graces you should demonstrate. Do not conform to the materialistic way. Live from the truth of your soul, the oneness of the soul with nature, and allow self to be free to discover the soul.
Good. Okay. Good. And now, did you take a point off? Just
Yeah.
tell me. Does it say
Yes, it says minus
you
one.
can take that back. Good.
All right.
Okay, who does the second one? Who did this second one? Karen Mitchell, I think you did. Did you not do number 2?
I did number 2.
I did number 2 as well.
I did number 2 also.
Hit it, Karen Frost.
History is what I said it was from.
Yes, that's correct.
Plato and Pindar are examples of historical figures who were in touch with the understanding that they were infinite intelligence. However, the same infinite intelligence of the universe that inspired Plato and Pindar is the same infinite intelligence that can inspire anyone. One can do as much studying of historical figures as they like, but the reality is that truth is everlasting. The existence and understanding of universal principles is not restricted to time. Plato's understanding of truth is no more special than anyone else's who understands truth.
That is a great answer. That's exactly what the essay is about. Okay. Who has number 3? Ellen, do you have number 3?
Okay, I wrote, this is from Compensation.
Right.
Emerson discusses in this essay that we live in a world of perfect balance. Everything positive has an equal negative, and in keeping with the concept of balance, we cannot expect to get something for nothing. Everything is paid for or compensated in some way in the universe. There is perfect balance in nature and a perfect balance in the law of cause and effect.
Great answer. Number 4. Did anybody do number 4?
I did.
Great. Read yours.
Well, I wrote it was Oversoul, but in his
Okay,
essay,
but it's not. So it's from. Do you know what it's from? Did I write down what it's from?
Spiritual Laws.
Right.
In his essay, Emerson recognizes the oneness, the eternality of the moment, the now moment.
Okay, so your answer is going to be wrong because you actually wrote it. Your answer is though it was the Oversoul, and it's not. It's actually more about is done to you as you believe. Okay. How much did I take off for that?
1.
Really? Okay, read it then. I must have thought you got it right.
Emerson recognizes the oneness, the eternality of the moment, the now moment, for he realizes the universal mind, the one mind of Plato. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. In this essay, Emerson is aware of himself on a higher level because he is opening up his heart and soul to discover the oneness within himself with nature. And so as he thinks about this oneness and recognizes he is one with all that is, he chooses to allow himself to open to this beauty within with the beauty of nature.
So that's wrong. I actually should have taken all 3 points off, just so you know, because that's not the answer to that essay. That's the Oversoul. And I only took 1 point off? How many answers? Did you answer all 5 of them or just pick 3?
I picked 3.
And I only took 1 point off?
And you gave me 6 points.
Out of the 9?
Yes.
Okay, then actually that's what you do. You'll get 6 out of the 9. That's fine. Okay, who does 5? David, do you have 5?
I did 5. Always our being is descending into us from we know not whence. This quote comes from the essay The Oversoul and presents that all mankind, every individual, is always receiving life force energy from the source that is God, and this is that which maintains our oneness as God. Okay.
So it's really important for you all to know Emerson and to understand how many of you got every essay, even the one I didn't put in there. even though I forgot to put it self-reliance. It's on my page now because I've already corrected it. But it's also important to know what each essay said, because they don't all say the same thing. They really don't. I know nature could have misled you because it says nature there, so it looks like it probably was from nature, but it wasn't. If you don't, if you need a refresher course on Emerson, then just tell Connie, just go to course sites and listen to them. You will be grilled on Emerson at your oral. That will be one of the things I'm going to impress upon the facilitators, to really see that you know what Emerson is all about. Okay, just go to it all. I don't think I have 3 weeks uploaded right now. I'll do all 5 weeks. It's just 20 minutes here and there. Listen, just listen, because I will take an essay. What? Oh, just the uploading the Emerson things. I'll do the rest of them. Just so that you get a sense of what each essay was about.
Yeah. He talks about nature in almost every essay.
Every one of them, yes. That's why you can't just hear the word nature and then think that's what the essay is. Right. Okay, Ernest Holmes. Let's start up at the top here with you, David. Go ahead.
Man never creates, he discovers and uses.
No, again, if you got something wrong, I want you to tell me, because I need to go over this with you. This 20 points is very important. Anything you don't know about Ernest Holmes must be corrected and fixed before we get to the end of the season this year. Okay? So
Man never creates, he discovers and uses. All that is needed to be created already is, as the creation of the one mind, God, using the creative process. It all comes from the eternal source of creative energy in the form of both unsubstantiated and substantiated substance. Man uses the creative process to move, you didn't like this word, manipulate that energy into form, manifested into that which represents his imagination and desire.
Right. Yeah, I just don't, we do manipulate, we do, but I would not like that as a premise to go by. That's all I meant. I didn't deduct anything.
No.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that? Anybody get a wrong answer on that? No? Okay, great. What is divine principle, Mariana?
The divine principle is oneness, wholeness. It is the divine creative principle. It is God, a self-existent power, intelligence, love, all good, beauty, first cause.
Did I give you that, or did I take something off?
You took something off.
Right. Why, do you think?
I'm not sure why, because I know also that it is the divine creative principle.
You didn't state the divine principle, what we consider the divine principle, though. You only did one part of it. Ellen, read yours.
Okay, and also Karen's got her hand up.
Oh, okay, Karen. Ellen, but Ellen,
Okay.
first read yours.
All right.
So listen, Mariana.
What is divine principle? This is that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of the spiritual law, the law of cause and effect.
That is what we teach. That's the definition. You missed yourself in that definition. You didn't include yourself. The divine principle includes you. It includes you as that which is one, and it includes the law of cause and effect. That's the whole principle. Karen Mitchell?
We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of the law of cause and effect. This means that all is God, including humankind, and that we are all subject to the way it works. This simply means that our beliefs create our experience of reality, because all thought is creative, focused thought much more so, and is made manifest in the world of form through the law of cause and effect. There is a power for good, and I can use it, and I am it.
Yes, very thorough answer. Very good answer. So you see why that was, Mariana? Great, okay. Sharon?
Explain the triune nature of God. The triune nature of God is spirit, soul, and body. Although God is only one, there are three attributes of God: spirit, which has volition; soul, which receives the impression from spirit; and body, which are the material manifestations of what is impressed by spirit onto the soul or created being.
Great. Now, I want you to look at the first word of that sentence. Explain the triune nature of God. If you said spirit, soul, body, you did not get it correct, because you didn't explain anything. You just said 3 words. Anyone who did that. Okay. Karen?
Explain the creative process. The creative process is how form comes into being. An individual makes a conscious decision. That decision moves through the soul or into the law that always says yes. Then the decision becomes a reality in form. The creative process is the movement of energy from the conscious mind through the subjective mind and into form.
Well said. Good, everybody? Okay, Aaron?
I didn't do number 5.
Karen Mitchell, did you do number 5? I think you all stayed away from this almost.
I did 5.
Okay.
Is this the relative is the absolute at the level of the relative?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, yes, I did it, and I did okay, shockingly. Okay. The above question leads me right into this one. Once a demonstration or manifestation has taken place, the absolute conscious mind is present within the effect to the degree that the believer believes it has power. Because there is no real separation between the world of form, relative, and the spiritual realm, absolute, everything is about consciousness. If I believe that there is no money, and I keep seeing that as my reality, then that becomes my truth. And the law says, yes, there is no money, according to my belief. As Jesus, the Christ, said, it is done unto you as you believe.
Very long answer for that question. You got the essence of it, which is that there is only the absolute no matter what level you're at. Okay.
So
Aaron?
you took,
We're good. Go ahead, what?
you took one off for me,
What
if
did
I
you-
could just read it.
You can.
Within the absolute is the relative, for it is all unity. And as the absolute contains the allness, the oneness, the relative is part of that oneness, that allness in truth.
Yeah, you didn't explain to me, though, the concept of no matter where I am, I'm in the absolute. So what Holmes was saying was that when we're in these relative situations, we tend to think we're not in God, we're not in the absolute, and we are. And that's what I wanted to make sense out of. Aaron, did you do inductive and deductive?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Explain the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning. Inductive is effect to cause. Deductive is based on an absolute premise and is cause to effect. The difference is that one is coming from first cause, deductive, and the other is coming from secondary causation, inductive. Example, let's say that I'm someone who hasn't had success in relationships. However, I don't buy into my limited story about my past. Instead, I stay on principle and know the spiritual truth that a relationship is possible. In this case, I would be thinking from deductive reasoning.
Well done. Yep. Terry, could you do number 7? Is it behind me?
He needs to
Terry, you've got to unmute.
The unconscious mind is the subjective mind. That's basically all I wrote in numbers.
Oh, okay. So you got. Did I give you that one wrong?
I don't know what I don't know what I got wrong or right. I don't have my answers.
I sent you your test corrected.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, I said everybody got it. It went to your email.
Really? Okay.
Okay. So I don't know that this is helping you then, Terry, because you should be looking at all of your answers.
Right. Let me get out of here and see if I can find it.
Okay. David, go ahead.
What exactly is the unconscious mind?
Yes.
There actually is no time that the mind is truly unconscious. It is always functioning and functions on a level that must be conscious in some form. However, the mind can take a temporary rest, quote unquote, and allow itself to cease conscious reasoning, and enter into a state of autonomic thought or action known as habits. Habits are, by definition, behaviors used as shortcuts for the mind.
Well, I was looking for, there is no such thing as conscious mind. That was
I got it. Oh,
Yeah.
That was the first thing I wrote.
I got it.
You're having spiritual Tourette's tonight. She just speaks. No, now you're frozen. Your face is frozen. So I was looking for no unconscious. There's no such thing as unconscious. We are never unconscious. However, we can appear to be unconscious when we're not conscious. Something like that. Okay, Mariana, number 8. Did you do number?
Yes.
Okay.
There is no such thing as your subjective mind and my subjective mind. There is only one mind, the mind of God, and it is the mind as each and every one of us.
Right, so one mind, we all use it. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? Alice?
Here's volition, getting to our teaching. Volition is a big part of our teaching because we teach that we create our own experiences through our choices. When we choose our own thoughts and beliefs, we will demonstrate the exact of them. So if we want to change our experience, we can choose a different thought and belief.
What I was looking for is that this is a choice, and that choice creates your experience. That's pretty much it. That's all I was looking for. Yes.
You gave me this, and you did not make a correction, but you did give me a verbal correction when we talked about it. You said you don't like the term, or we don't use the word willpower.
Yes, no. Willpower. What is willpower? What's the difference between will and willpower? Anyone? Karen?
It's the motivation, I would say, one uses. It's an intention to have motivation as opposed to just will is just the intention.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm not sure I would agree. I'm not sure I disagree with those two. Will is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Will is divine energy.
Right.
There's this energy is always will, full of will, meaning it's always emerging, it's always pushing, it's always evolving. Willpower is yes, say it again. The creative urge, yes. Mm-hmm. Willpower is an individual use of mind to try to make something happen. When I have willpower, and what Ernest Holmes teaches is that when we get into willpower, we're getting into force, or we're trying to force something to happen.
Okay, I hear you and I agree with you. That's not how I meant the term.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't take anything off, but I wanted to make sure you knew that.
All right.
You don't use it again.
So
In your answers on the test.
your definition of willpower is the individual use?
Yes, of will.
Okay.
Right. You know, people say you have to have willpower to fight that. That means you're fighting your mind to keep it in place, whereas will is flowing, ever flowing.
So it's like outlining, basically. That's what you consider willpower.
Yeah, trying to be in charge, pretty much, because outlining is you get involved with the way, with the how, and you're now going to take charge. Right. Okay, Mariana. No, who was just reading? Who read that? Oh, that was Ellen, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Sharon.
Oh, thoughts are things. I wrote, because we have power, our thoughts, backed by our beliefs, are always creating. This is why we must have our mind and thoughts under our conscious control, because whether or not we are paying attention, our thoughts are creating our reality and becoming things. So choose the right thoughts.
Okay, Karen, what did you put there? Did anybody get a thing from me saying great answer? Okay, that's it. I mean, to explain thoughts or things would be to explain the immediacy of mind. That the very idea that the cause and effect are simultaneous and they are one and the same thing. Okay, Karen?
You gave me a well said for number 12, so maybe Aaron and I should trade.
Okay, Aaron, take 11.
Yeah, I didn't do 11. I did 13.
We'll do 12.
Okay. How do we develop a mental equivalent of a specific desire?
Right.
How does one get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Because many of us live unconsciously, we have to practice reminding ourselves of the spiritual truth. Spiritual mind treatment, meditation, and engaging in spiritual content are all tools that contribute to creating an intended mental equivalent.
Great, that's a great answer. Aaron, what did you do? Did you do 13?
Yes.
Great, do 13.
So the law of correspondent works from the belief to the thing. Our beliefs.
You are one of the few people that got that.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I got it too.
And there you go. So the two of you did. You and the Tourette's lady.
Our beliefs create our thoughts create our feelings create our emotions create the circumstances of our lives. The law of correspondence works through the law. What beliefs and thoughts we put into the law, there has to be a mental equivalent in the physical form. Example, if I believe life is easy, then the law through the law of correspondence, has to create a mental equivalent of what's within my life, that within my life.
Great, very good answer. Karen, do you want to do 11?
Yes. Prayer is its own answer. Because affirmative prayer treatment is a movement of thought into form for a specific purpose, the prayer treatment itself is the answer. There is no God outside ourselves that we are praying to in order to get something. As religious scientists, we know the spiritual truth behind any effect, and we know that this truth is already present right here and right now. That is the prayer and the answer all rolled into one.
Great. Good answer. Okay, Terry, did you find your answers?
He's muted.
Oh. Terry, did you find your answers? Shake your head.
He's muted over here then.
No? Can you unmute yourself, Terry?
He's muted over
He's muted
here.
from here.
Does it matter, Karen?
I don't know.
No, he can unmute himself. There you go, Terry. Terry, did you do number 14?
Aye.
Or did you find your answers?
No answers, just the test. You sent me the test with no answers.
That's impossible. I only had yours.
That's all I got.
Could you mute him again? Okay, so back to, who is it, David?
I didn't do 14.
Mariana, did you do 14?
Yes,
Go ahead. Did you get it right?
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Discuss the idea of individuality as it relates to our ability to create our experience of life. I am an individualized expression of the one, God. I am all the power, life, love, intelligence, substance of God, and I am free to use this power, life, love, intelligence, and I can create the life of pure harmony, order, abundance, peace, joy, grace. And it is how I choose to think of myself that creates my life. If I use this power invertedly, I get to witness my life from struggle and strife. As I choose to live as the power, presence, love, and life of God, I create a life that is full, inspiring, uplifting, radiantly healthy, full of wisdom, understanding, and infinite possibilities.
Great. Okay. Ella, 15?
I didn't do 15.
Sharon, did you do 15?
Oh, yes. Explain your understanding of oneness and how it applies to the teachings of Ernest Holmes. There is only one thing, one power, one divine energy, and that is God. Since there is only one thing in the universe and nothing outside this oneness, then we must be that one. We are one of God and one with everything and everyone. Our understanding of who we are gives us the power to direct our thoughts and create the lives we want. The power of God, the wisdom, intelligence, love, and joy are all attributes of God and are what we are, as individualized expressions of the one. God is love, and love is who and what we are.
Great. What I was looking for in there is, if there's only one thing, it has to be who I am, and if that's the truth, then I have the power to create my experience. There you go. Okay, what is spiritual mind treatment? Karen Frost.
A spiritual mind treatment is a method to consciously move energy to create an intended result.
Short to the point. Very good. I was really looking for a movement of energy because that's really what we're experiencing here. And for a specific purpose, as Ernest Holmes says, a movement in mind for a specific purpose. And anything else you put in there is all gravy after that. Okay, Aaron, let's go through and describe the 5 steps of treatment. Now, I think most of you got this, but you got it, yeah. Go ahead.
Recognition, this is acknowledging the one source, God, life force, the backing of all of life that is creating everything. Second, unification. This is the unifying my consciousness as the one source. Third, revelation or declaration. This is declaring the truth and revealing the truth. Third, thanksgiving or gratitude. This is giving thanks and basking in gratitude, energetic feeling. This is already done in the one mind. Release, this is handing it over to the law, releasing the doingness, letting go of the outlining, etc.
The only thing you got that is not correct, it's not wrong, What's step 3?
Revelation,
Not
declaration,
revelation. Realization.
realization, right.
I don't think I took anything off of that though. So it's not okay. I think a couple of you wrote the 5 steps of treatment and just did it. You have to describe them too. If you see that you've got something wrong, it's because of that. Karen Mitchell, what are the 2 distinct methods of treatment and what is the difference between them? Oh, is she frozen?
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I had to unmute my thing. Okay. Affirmative,
Mm.
and you put realization.
Yes.
But I was taught, and CSL.
Weren't you in you were taught by me in practitioner class. We always taught realization and argumentative.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, affirmative, realization, and argumentative. Affirmative prayer comes from a place of knowing the truth and affirms it. In argumentative prayer, the practitioner actually brings the condition in to the treatment in order to argue it down. I personally believe that a practitioner should be all prayed up before beginning a prayer treatment session with a client and should do the arguing within her own mind beforehand. I stick to the idea of turning entirely away from the condition in prayer treatment, knowing and affirming only truth.
Good. So it's realization and argumentative. Please remember that. It's not
Realization.
affirmation or declaration. It's realization. The reason for that is, for you, realization, I mean, saying affirmative, actually both of those prayers are affirmative prayers. Even the argumentative is an affirmative prayer.
Mm-hmm.
But realization means that you are coming from a realization premise. You're coming from the place of realizing that it's all perfect. Okay, so you must remember realization.
All right, will do.
Yeah. David.
As an SOM practitioner, how do we heal? Science of mind practitioners do not heal because we do not recognize nor empower any belief in illness or injury. We recognize that we create such as illusions of our imagination, and that these beliefs and thoughts regarding illness are errors of the mind, and that the mind can release them using the power of spiritual mind treatment.
Great. Did you say reveal in there somewhere? It's still correct, but what I was really looking for was we don't heal, we reveal.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you got that because you said we don't heal. Okay, Mariana.
Disease is an error in thought away from the truth of perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. And as we speak the truth, knowing perfection and wholeness as the divine truth of being, with conviction, energy, and feeling, there is a revealing within the patient of the truth within.
So what we're looking for there is disease is just a misunderstanding in mind. Yes? Good. Okay.
Or error in
Ellen?
thought, right? You could still
Yeah,
say
it's fine.
that.
Yep, same thing.
What is the active ingredient of treatment? Explain how it works. The active ingredient is our conviction of our beliefs. There's power in our word and thoughts, and at the level of our belief will we demonstrate. So the stronger our feelings and conviction, the stronger the treatment and demonstration.
Before you were going to ever hit what his answer was, but you
Which
got
is
feelings
feelings.
in there
Yeah.
towards the end. Yes.
Feelings.
So I'm looking for feelings, right?
You actually said well said on mine.
You gotta tell me that. I would have had you read it. Okay? If you have it well said, please. Okay. So that would be 1 point for each. You get 1 point off for each. Okay. Psychology and its relationship to mankind. I'm just gonna ask who you all did your own. So who had William James? I mean, who presented William James?
I did.
Then give me your answer.
William James, a pragmatic philosopher who felt that philosophy must be linked to what actually works and is practical in the lives of humans. He started out in psychology and wrote a textbook on the subject, but became disillusioned with his field and ended up teaching philosophy, which was his true passion.
Great. Pavlov?
I wrote it. Well, I'm sure other people wrote it, but I did it. Pavlov was a behavioral psychologist along with Watson and Skinner. He proved the theory of stimulus and response with his experiments on dogs. He learned that he could condition dogs to salivate without the original stimulus that caused it. When the dogs saw the lab assistant, they associated them with food and would begin to salivate until they were present. Their belief caused them to salivate. The significance of this and contribution to religious science is very important in understanding behavior. It shows the connection of the physical body to the mind and how powerful our thoughts are in creating physical experience. We know that our thoughts control our behavior, and by changing our thought, our stimulus, we can therefore change our desired result.
Damn.
Well done, really beautifully done. Go ahead, Watson.
I did.
Go ahead, darling.
John B. Watson was an American psychologist who is known as the father of behaviorism. Watson's most famous experiments included work with children. He proved that children could be taught to fear anything, even a bunny rabbit, with proper conditioning. Watson believed that mankind is subject to his surroundings and conditioned responses, and that this is how we view our world. I would say that his contribution to the science of mind is one of opposites. Ernest Holmes believed that mankind is divine and can control his thoughts and even change his relationship to the past conditioning he has experienced, simply by choosing to do so. Watson believed that mankind is basically flawed and can be easily controlled by behavioral-based advertising campaigns and propaganda.
Well
Watson
done.
was a Republican.
That's right. You had B.F. Skinner.
I did.
Great.
Skinner was very famous for the Skinner box. The Skinner box was where he trained rats.
Are you reading me your answer?
No, I didn't write that answer, but.
Oh, you didn't. You presented. You didn't give that as one of your two answers.
No.
Did you do two answers? No, I think you forgot to do one.
No, I did.
So who forgot to write two? Somebody only gave me one. Okay. So did anybody else pick Skinner? No. Okay. Go ahead.
So anyway,
Let's make it short.
he did operant conditioning. So he was a true behaviorist and did not believe that we really had free will. That was, that he really believed that it's all reaction. Everything is reaction.
Which goes very well with Freud. It's so funny that that's the one you presented. You didn't answer it. Good for you. Sigmund Freud. But everybody answered it. So who wants to read Freud? Didn't anybody else answer Freud?
No. Apparently.
Helen.
I did.
apparently-
Okay,
Go ahead, Karen.
I did.
Go ahead.
Tourette's woman did here. Contribution to the science of mind is in his exploration of the subconscious mind, which we subjective consciousness and the collective unconscious. Through Freud's study of dreams and his belief in the mind always working beneath the surface, he gave a sense of what science of mind says. Mind is always working, even with fellow psychiatrist Carl Jung. At one point, they parted ways due to Freud's unwillingness to embrace the idea of what Emerson called the oversoul. Freud did so much work with cognitive therapy, listening to his patients relate stories about their childhoods, etc., in an attempt to get to the root of their
Is this Karen?
problems, where science of mind teaches that getting to the cause of a problem isn't necessary to healing.
That's why I was better when she left and came back. She should probably do that again.
We can change our relationship to the past, the healing. You got it? Am I frozen?
Yes.
Did I freeze?
Would you go out and come back in again?
Would I go out and come back in again?
Yeah, because I think it'll help you with reception.
Okay, I will.
You sort of got me. I'll kind of have that. Okay, who did Eric Erickson?
230.
Anybody answer Eric Erickson?
Eric Erickson's determine where our beliefs are formed. For instance, trust issues form in the earliest stage of life when a child learns whether or not they can trust their parent. Beliefs about relationships form later in life. Erickson's work about when beliefs are formed aid a religious scientist with identifying a belief that does not serve them and treating to realize the spiritual truth of their being.
Well done. Yep. Jean Paget?
Yes. Jean Piaget believed that children were human beings with something to say, that they really were intelligent and had thoughts and feelings that were creative and expressive. He was key in the field of child development. His contribution to the science of mind teaching is bringing the awareness that children are unique individuals who can learn and grow and have knowledge and wisdom.
Carl Maslow?
That was mine. You guys are monsters. I stuck to the brief paragraph concept.
Please, mercifully.
Maslow recognized the inherent goodness of man and taught that to his students, and his writings shared this recognition, which is basic to the teachings of religious science.
Oh, that was short and sweet. Carl Rogers, anybody get that? Yeah, no.
He was considered a humanistic psychologist, wrote the book A Way of Being, and his philosophy was treating people with unconditional positive regard. He believed that people are good and loving, and that just by being present with them was healing. I think his contribution was in the realm of love, and that when we can hold a positive view of our lives and ourselves, that is what we will demonstrate.
Okay, triune nature, creative process. I'm just going to go down this, and if you have it wrong, ask me. Absolute goes where?
CM.
Conscious mind. I just said I was going to tell you none.
Yeah.
The absolute is conscious mind. Objective, now those of you who got it wrong, objective, many of you probably put in, who got it wrong? Where'd you put it?
I put it in conscious mind.
And where did you did?
Yeah, you said it's in the
Form.
You did the opposite.
Yes. What do you have?
Form.
You have it in form. So I had to go round and round with this, and I may have to give you all credit for something. So the objective in the, where is objective in the science of mind teaching tool when we're looking at universal mind?
Yeah.
No, it's a conscious mind. It's in conscious mind when it's in universal. Where is it in the individual?
It's in form.
It's in form. So it can be confusing.
Wait, say that whole thing again.
When we're doing it's a teaching tool of universal mind, the macrocosm versus the microcosm. In the macrocosm, its objective is in the top. In the microcosm, for us, objective becomes what we bring. And he shows it in both. So if you have it in either, only you can be honest with
online with a class and I speak to him. So that's
Karen, are you back in?
She's frozen.
So these are all worth a half a point. So if you think you got misgraded, you can add a half point to your.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just.
Okay, so karmic law is subjective mind, masculine, conscious mind, personality, conscious mind. It's not in the form. Volition, conscious mind. Deductive reasoning, I accept subjective mind, conscious mind, or both. No, I do not accept it if you only put it in conscious mind.
Say this
Then
again.
you're wrong.
Deductive reasoning?
Deductive reasoning needs to be in subjective mind. But it's great if you actually put conscious mind and subjective mind.
I put subjective mind and you put in red conscious mind. I don't
But
know.
I didn't take a point off.
You did not take a
Well,
point.
you took a
Wait.
point off for mine.
Where did you have it?
I have it in conscious mind, and
That's
then
where it has to be in subjective mind. You can add conscious mind because conscious mind is correct, but it is really subjective mind. Man can reason both. Center reasons only one way.
but are you talking about? Pardon me for interrupting.
Not a problem.
So, see, once again, then, if you look at the macrocosm,
It's always in the middle in both.
okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Deductively means it can only say yes.
Yes, right.
So I heard you say that although it's in red here, you did not deduct
I did
a
not
point,
deduct a
but in the other ones where it was in red, you did deduct a point.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So wait, say it one more time then, because then in the macrocosm, it's
In the
deductive
middle.
and,
In the individual, it goes up. It can be in it's in conscious mind. Man reasons both inductively and deductively.
right.
Therefore, in when we're showing ourselves, the individual, deductive reasoning would be in conscious mind and subjective mind. But in the macrocosm, it would only be in the middle, which means it's always in the middle. But in the individual case, it also is in the conscious mind.
Okay, because when I was looking at the big circle before the test, I'll look again.
Yeah,
I thought I saw in macrocosm, spirit only deducts, deductive reasoning would be in the top portion because spirit only knows to
No, it's in the middle. Look again. It's in the middle.
All right.
Individuality, conscious mind. Disease, form, and purpose, conscious mind. Okay? I'm not going to go over the major religions of the world, but I will tell you, whoever wrote, I don't remember who it was now. Scientology is not one of the 5 major religions. It's not a major religion. Most of you got all of this right. Some of you, did anybody get deduction because they didn't do 5? Okay, good. Minister is speaker. Let me just tell you what I was looking for here. Because some of you got deductions because, once again, I'm not interested in creating ministers who can get up and give boring-ass talks about what's in the textbook. That's not going to grow this church. It's not going to grow the teaching. And it's not, frankly, more importantly, it's not going to give anyone a reason to take this teaching into their life if you get up and give me a boring talk about something. So I wrote this question in a way for you to come up with something in current events, exciting, titillating, that you can turn into a talk. Okay? So you
I'm gonna say,
What is that?
Yeah.
Karen, Karen, could you mute yourself?
Yeah.
Thanks. So I was looking for a title. I needed to know what your topic was. Who did I write? That's great. I want to see this talk. Read it,
So
Karen.
well thought out, let's talk about.
Yes, both of you. Yeah. So this is what I was looking for.
Okay, so my talk title is Hot Sauce in My Bag Swag.
What?
Hot sauce in my bag swag.
Yes.
She's a writer.
No, it's great. Wait to hear it. It's great. Got it.
So, synopsis. Beyonce performed her new song, Formation, at the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago that sparked a national discussion and a really funny skit on Saturday Night Live about race. My 3 bullet points. Regardless of one's beliefs about Beyonce's performance, lyrics, and music video, Beyonce is creatively expressing herself from the understanding of truth of what she is. In her documentary, Life is But a Dream, Beyonce talks about her belief that she is God. Second bullet point, hot sauce in my bag, swag, is Beyonce's choice to proudly express that there is no shame in making the conscious choice to always be prepared to season her food the way she likes it, or live her life the way that she likes it. Third, Beyonce's understanding that she is God means that she gets to express herself any way she wants, still sell out all arenas across the country during pre-sales, and regardless of all criticism, she continues to be prosperous and express herself creatively as she chooses. She's healthy enough to participate in vibrant and provocative performances with her husband Jay-Z and play with her cute baby Blue. There might be haters out there, but there's no reason that we can't strut with our hot sauce in our bag swag because we're God.
Now,
I go to her church.
Exactly. How many people want to hear that talk?
Yeah.
She's going to give that talk, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to hear that talk. You got to come up with ideas that are interesting and vibrant. And yours was great too. Read yours.
Mine is spiritual social media. I could use a better topic.
Yeah, your titles need some work. Go ahead.
Synopsis, how to use the power of social media for good. 3 bullet points. My personal story. So ask audience a question. Have you ever found yourself getting on social media thinking you would just go on for a second only to find yourself on it for 30 minutes or maybe even an hour? Talked about the other morning, I got a little out of my routine and woke up immediately, jumped onto social media. I found myself getting sucked into the online vortex, and 20 minutes later, I realized I was completely off principle. I realized we can either use social media for good or be used by it, and find ourselves wasting our days away on Facebook frenzy of Never Land. Second bullet point, spiritual principle. Statistics on amount of hours the average person spends on social media. Through the law of cause and effect, we get to create each day into existence how we use social media and no longer be the effect of it. Relating to a personal story again. And then the third point is the power of decision. Personal decision, volition. So right there in that moment after realizing I had chosen the last 20 minutes losing myself of my precious morning, I made a decision to use social media for good. Invite audience to think about how they want to use social media instead of being used by it. What is their decision going to be? Conclusion, spiritual mind treatment.
Good. Better title, but good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was looking for. Some of you lost points because you didn't give me I didn't understand what the event was. What was
I totally missed that part of it, totally.
Okay. Minister as teacher. Now, this was a big one. I don't have time to go over it tonight, but we will, because we will go through these first 4 chapters, and then I'm formulating a way of getting you to have to do this.
I read the first 4 chapters the next
Yes.
day, like bullet point the whole thing. I better know
So
this.
the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. They are 4 very distinct chapters, even though they could seamlessly run into one another, but you have to make them separate. I don't do this anymore. I don't do the first 4 weeks of the year with these. But you still need to know those first 4 chapters, like you know your name. It has to be that clear, okay? So a lot of you screwed that up and you got points off for that. And we all know you.
Just, I mean, not to defend anything, obviously we love the science mind, but those first 4 chapters, I don't think they're very well structured from a structural perspective of chapters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do, but if you understand them, you actually can structure them where they make great sense.
Totally.
And that's all, and that's what I want you to learn how to do. Okay?
Can you rewrite?
I can.
Yes. So the minister is counselor. I'm trying to remember. One of you did this beautifully. Did I write on someone's test that was beautiful, or that you did this perfectly?
Yeah.
You mean the
I missed
minister?
that whole section.
And you missed it. There's
I
10
didn't even
points
see
you
it.
lost.
Didn't
Just
even see it.
so you know, your scores have gone
Well
up
done.
considerably.
You said not
I
surprisingly.
didn't see it.
You said
Oh, I
well
said
done.
well done. Okay, but I think on one of you I said you got every point. Here's the point.
I got it.
In this counseling, you have to have set an appointment with both, was it Marge? Martha, Michael, and John. You had to see all 3 of them. Nobody gets to drag their family into counseling. You're not there to subject some kid to counseling or because their parents want it.
That's correct.
That's not how it works. So if you started off with saying, I would do family counseling for them, you got it wrong. Because the person that came to you was Martha, and then John. So who didn't come to you? Michael. And he's not going to come to you unless his parents drag him in, or he decides he wants to come to you. So you as a counselor, your job is not to impose your thoughts and opinions on this situation here. And some of you fell into that trap of trying to be like, oh, I can fix this for them. So one of the things we will cover for the end of the year is much more intense understanding of what counseling is and how you accomplish it.
And I kind of wanted to know how old the son was too. Like I wanted to know, is he a minor or was he an adult or what?
Did you give an age there?
No, there's
No.
Oh,
So I asked that question too.
yes, you did. Thank you.
I made the presumption. I just decided he was a young adult.
I think I'm going to actually make him like 14.
Did anyone else, like when they're scrolling through the exam during it, like I luckily saw the other section on the religions because I had scrolled past.
Erin, you know what I did?
Showed it at all, and then I scrolled back up, and it all of a sudden popped up.
I got to this point where I thought I'm done, and it was like, you're over here, and I'm like, I'm done. And he looked up and I said, I'm done. He says, you're done. And I even sent it to him. And I thought, wait a minute. There was supposed to be a section on religions, and I don't remember doing anything on
religions. It didn't show up
religions.
at all until I scrolled.
So I went back and looked over it, and I started scrolling, and I go, oh my God, I was only halfway through.
But it was weird. It was like the way it scrolled. It was like it condensed the document, and then you'd scroll again.
Thank
and
you.
it
I
would
will
open
look
it
at
up.
that before I
Just so you
send it
know.
off December.
You might want to like.
Any questions on the test? I mean, does it seem too easy?
No.
No, it's not too easy.
I had fun with it.
Just a section on science of mind, because I wasn't expecting to think of it in the terms of 4 chapters. Like I was a little off putting that.
What I liked about it is
I
that
like
it helped me clearly know where I'm weak. And I know
Okay,
I'm weak.
absolutely.
I know I'm weak with Holmes, and I know I'm weak with Emerson.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta really get stronger with that.
Okay, good.
I was surprised I knew more about Emerson than I thought I knew.
You've got all my
I didn't
impressions.
know that I could,
Right.
yeah.
I was surprised.
I didn't know I could just name, like you give me a quote and I can tell you what essay that's from. I didn't know that about myself.
So here's the thing. I am going to, when I send these in, I will send you out grades that are going to be a little bit different than what you've got, because I'm going to actually do it based on 110 points. So your marks will go down a bit because it's based on 110 points. So I have to fix it when I send the results into Emerson. So, I mean, I will tell you the highest mark in the class came from Sharon Kelly at a 99.5. Second only to Ellen, who got a 99. So it's like you guys were off by half of a point. But it won't be a 99.5 because we'll probably go to like a 97 once I figure out how do I do this with 110, because I need 110 points to get.
So you
It's
take
a
your,
percentage of 110, so the
Yeah,
score over 100.
yes, so
I
you'll,
thought you told me at the class you said 105.
it was 110, I believe.
So he's got to do it.
If it's 105, then your mark's not gonna go down that much at all.
so now I've had 2 scores. The original one you gave me, then the one you adjusted.
Now the one that I'll adjust.
And you're gonna
again.
adjust it again.
Back down. Right. So, I thought everybody did fairly well. The truth is, what David just said is true. I can see where your weaknesses are. I know where each one of you, I know where you are each one more, where you need more help in certain areas. And I will certainly do my best to accomplish that. But these tests will also be given to the people that will do your panels, and they're gonna know where you were possibly weakest, and they will hit you there. They will come at you from there.
Is there, if you want to, I mean, not that it will, I get that I missed that last session, but if you want to send me another question on that, I can answer.
No, for you, it's more about, you gotta simplify. You may even know the answer, but the way you write it isn't, I can't understand.
Yeah.
But you do that sometimes when you speak too. You get very heavy. You gotta bring it down. Your job is to distill this teaching to the lowest common denominator with passion and excitement and fun. Okay? When we get into the orals, you will be giving talks, you will be teaching a class, you will be doing a mock counseling session.
How long is the oral?
It's a 3-day process.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, you're there for 3 days.
What you just said.
You'll be giving a talk, you'll be judged on your speaking ability, you'll be teaching, you'll be doing counseling.
Will we know what we're gonna be teaching ahead of time?
Nope.
But will there be books
You'll get it
available?
when you
Or?
get there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just putting the orals together. They threw that at me now saying, well, now you did such a job with the test. Can you give us your idea of what the orals should look like? Yeah. Please, when we get there, we'll talk about this later, but be dressed, don't come in your sweatpants.
I didn't wear sweatpants, but.
You were in a hoodie.
No, I didn't. I had on a t-shirt that said grateful on it. I felt like that's what that was the energy I was bringing to the table. It's gotta be fancy energy, not grateful energy.
Let's go for sparkling.
Swag
You
bag.
don't have to be sparkling. Oh, if it's Mark again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, if we're gonna be there for a couple of days, we need more than one.
Yeah, and there will be workshops. Each person will present something. Maureen will probably present church as a business. Mark will probably present leadership, because that's what he teaches, that whole thing about leadership. And I don't know what Angela will do, but it'll be a wonderful time. We will have a great time, and you will have an answer before you leave.
Is Jonathan's answer?
I don't know because Helen's in the class. I don't know that would be appropriate.
By the way, how did Reverend Jonathan do on the test?
When he took the test, he
No, right here when he took it
did
with
okay.
us. He did okay.
Yeah, he didn't take all the answers.
Oh, he didn't do them all. Okay.
But he did pretty well. Not as well as Sharon, but he did pretty well. Okay, there we are, 9:30. We're a little half hour later. Any questions? No. I'm very excited as this class. It doesn't wind down. It's about to actually wind up. And it will wind up. That was very funny what Liza said last night. When I was saying, I'm sorry that the Trower class, I said, these people were waiting to take Central Ernest Holmes. I kept postponing it. And then Liza said, and we were just waiting for this to end.
Will this class ever end?
It's like, you're thinking, will this class ever begin? We're thinking, will Trower ever end? Yes, Sharon.
If we didn't pass the orals, is there a path to becoming a minister?
No, it's done. Here's the thing: if you, anyone who goes, remember now, I still have to decide who's going to the orals based on the next couple of months. Here are the results of the written. In the next couple of months, once we do leadership and business, and we have our meetings and such, I'll have a better understanding who's really ready to go to the orals. Who's ready to step into the world of ministry? I still have to be really careful. I want to be very honest how I feel about who can do this. And it has a lot to do with a lot of things. The financial part of this, you got to know what you're doing with money. You got to know what you're doing with business. You got to know how to live in the world as a minister. I mean, I don't want to be one of those people that just put people through ministry.
So that just kind of brings up a question, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who doesn't necessarily see myself running my own church per se. But as a minister, there's still a lot of good to be done in the world as
Absolutely.
a minister. So hopefully there's a path for people that
Oh,
don't want to have their own churches.
Absolutely there is. No, absolutely. And here's the other part, Angelo will, you can, once you get through this, in order to be, your path to CSL is in this room, if you choose. Is anyone in here talking to CSL about possibly becoming a CSL minister?
I have, and
So it's you, because they came and told me somebody was talking to them about possibly going.
and none of this is going to work with their program.
Yeah,
They
it is.
told me that
That's because they're being pissy. But they came to me and asked me what I taught. I said I taught them the exact same thing that we've been teaching for the last 30 years. So
because I know that they had said to me that they sent you an email in August to ask for the syllabus, and they hadn't heard back from you.
That's not true. No one's ever
Right.
asked me anything.
Well, I'm just.
And in fact, who'd you talk to? Bob Dean?
No, I spoke with Maureen Thurston,
I don't even know who that is.
and she talked to, I believe, Bob Dean,
Yeah.
and then got back with me about the
So, but it's you.
information.
Okay. He told me there was a
So-
student that was looking to credit through CSL.
Well, I just was trying to find out, because remember when you said that person wasn't coming, if you wanted to find out
no,
yourself.
that's fine. That's fine.
And so I called and found out that,
Well, here's what it will.
So-
This is what it will cost. You will need to. You will get credit for the 2 years of ministerial classes with CSL, because I taught from the CSL, except I enhanced it, and now they want my enhancements, and they're not getting it. And then it'll cost you another, I think, like $12,000 to take a few more classes from that.
$12,000.
Yes. Because if you only paid 6, you have to pay the 18 it costs to become a minister,
so that it's like another year of classes, just as an idea.
and $12,000.
And $12,000.
Yeah.
So what does it mean for us going forward if we're not CSL ministers? We'd not be able to go be a staff minister at another CSL church, or?
Yeah, you would, because here's what's going to happen. If another CSL church wanted you to even take it over, all that they would have to do a panel, as I've done many for the Agape ministers. We panel whoever is an Emerson minister or an Agape minister or a Unity minister. They panel you to see what you know, and then pass you over to a CSL minister.
Okay, that's not what they told me.
Of course, they're not going to tell you that.
Okay.
They want your $12,000. But that is the way it works. They panel you to see.
Which
So
only
the-
makes sense, because if we're all studying basically the same
Right.
philosophy and the same concepts, as long as there isn't some radical difference, why would they not allow that to? I mean, same thing as unity and science of mind are allowing them, or religious science going back and forth. It would seem to me to be
No, they're
disingenuous
very
to-
upset. They lost $120,000 last year on their education.
so it's a business thing.
And they only graduated 10 ministerial students in the entire organization. 10 students last year. I have 9 going. I have as many as you graduate. So they're very upset that I chose to do it this way, as many of the other churches are starting to choose to do it this way. And their training's not that good. Their courses aren't that good. And they don't have this kind of training. People are just studying online and then passing through. So, but so it's you, because he came up to me and talked to me about it and said, I need your curriculum to be able to know what they have. And I said, they have the 2 years of training from Science Tonight. You have the curriculum. That's what they were taught.
Yeah, and that's what I told Maureen. I said, it's pretty extensive. And she said, well, until we get a curriculum so far, none of this will bleed into what we're teaching.
So I wouldn't try to I would not try to become a CSL minister by doing their classes and all. First, wait and see if you have a reason to be a CSL minister. And when you do, they have to panel you.
The church that you want to go to will panel you.
No, a church that decides to, if you get a job as a minister at a church, that church will say, we want Mariana Kitts, but she's an Emerson minister, and therefore the CSL will panel you to turn you into a CSL.
That's what I mean, yeah, yes. Okay, right. And then church, okay.
Is it true that a lot of the CSL ministers came through Unity?
No.
They didn't?
No.
But some did?
Some. Well, some of the ministers didn't even, like for instance, Lola in Chicago, she never went through any ministerial training whatsoever. Mark never taught her. He was going to teach her through Emerson, then he left the church, but she was already set as the minister. CSL just signed her up and said, you're a minister. And she had no training. She did not go through ministerial.
Wow.
Oh boy, she was pretty powerful at the meeting. Between she and I, there was like no stone unturned.
I could tell based on Facebook. Yeah.
So, anyway, good. Closing treatment. David, do you want to close this out?
I'd be happy to. And at some point, I would love to hear your experience of the
conference.
Of the conference.
Were there a lot of people there?
Yeah, there were ministers there and practitioners. Yes. But this organization right now has no vision whatsoever for where we're going. Their vision is for us to have is for us to be stronger as a church and to go out in the world and a world that works for everyone, provided that the everyone does it the way we do it, because we have the greatest teaching in the world, and it makes my head explode.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest Holmes would turn over in his grave at the very thought that his organization turned into exactly what it should be, which is another organization saying we have the answer. And Karen was there; she heard everything I heard.
Oh God, yeah, I was. It was an awakening moment for me, politically. The political inner workings. It's very disturbing because I went in wide-eyed and woo, I'm doing the music. I love everyone, and then it's all this political, and it just was. It was a good lesson. It was a good lesson.
Kind of unfortunate. When the curtain gets drawn in this organization, it's unfortunate.
Even with the coming together of RSI and United?
Well, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to offend you or anybody who came through United, but the problem is that we're doing things the United way, and RSI has been completely abolished, which is what David Walker said would happen. RSI was an incredible organization. They were fiscally sound, much more than United. United was in the red when we went together. Now, we're in the red again. But RSI was in the black. It was a lovely organization. I loved. There was never every Asilomar was incredible. The curtain was pulled back, and everybody seemed to be on principle. We're now with United, and it's just backstabbing, and it's nothing about what we're about. It's not who we are.
Well, then why did we come together?
Because it seemed like a good idea for these two organizations that used to be one to come back as one. But now I have to really bite my tongue, as Dr. Walker, who I fought on this, kept saying, you don't understand. We are separate organizations for a reason. We don't do it that way. And they have so many problems financially and the way they run their business. And you just watch. We will be absorbed, and there will be no RSI. And he was right.
And so what do you want to see happen?
I don't know. We'll see what happens with us. We're still a part of that organization for now, and we'll see what happens. Many people are talking about going independent or becoming an Emerson Institute affiliate, which we are anyway already.
We're on the Emerson website.
Yes, we're already on the Emerson website. Yeah.
Why weren't the voices of RSI stronger in making sure that their positions were?
I don't know.
It seemed like,
I know our spiritual leader is RSI. but he seems to be more in line with what's, anyway, I don't want to go into it because I obviously don't have a very positive feeling about it, and yet we're still a part of that organization. But it is imploding, and the churches are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're falling off the map, and we're not getting new members, and we're not creating new ministers. But that's them, that's not us.
I think this is an
Right.
thing to understand, and also in terms of what vision you may have, because as you said, in the next few weeks, next 8 weeks, we're going to be doing church as a business. We're going to be doing leadership, which is exactly what we're talking about right now.
And we'll have a lot of time to talk about that.
And what the possibilities are. I mean, why did Michael Beckwith decide to become Agape
Yeah, that's
in and of itself?
He left United because he did not like the politics,
Mhm.
and he didn't like the way they were running the organization, so he created his own.
What's interesting also, I just got an email that says it's an online summit of 108 great New Thought leaders. You know what I mean? It's like Teal Swan and all these people. It's all like,
Where?
it's in LA. I'll forward you that email. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, to me too.
Is that from Agape?
And I was like, Ralph Smart, all the like online guru people.
Okay.
Whose summit is it, I think is what our question is.
Yeah, whose is it?
Well, this came from Teal Swan, but it's not hers.
Yeah, that's just it's a summit someone put together.
Yeah, it's just a summit,
Yeah,
but it's all like, I mean, the world out there, the people that do know the word New Thought generally don't think of even unity or religious science.
No.
They think of these people on the internet. They think of Oprah.
And that's exactly correct. And that's what James was talking about earlier. We need stars.
Yeah, there's no.
And there's a lot of them in this room, by the way. And I love who said this to me. Somebody in this room said it. The concept that the new religion is no religion. Oh no, Sarah told me. She said this is what the new religion is no religion, and I want more no religion. So, okay, treat us out. Thank you. We got 2 children in West Hills.
And so let us please draw back into this place, this time, this moment, this reality, this now, and recognize what an amazing, what an enormously wonderful, powerful, brilliant mind we are. As I heard the answers that were given to these test questions, my mind was expanded and blown. I know you each individually are brilliant, and that means collectively we are magnificently brilliant. And this is the direction that we go. This is, I know that we are this energy, we are this truth, we are this love, we are this life, we are this creation that is evolving called the Global Truth Center. We are the ministers that we are now. And that's such a truth that I feel it vibrating within me. We are now that which we are becoming. It is now, and it's always now. And as we become increasingly aware of that, there is no doubt, there is no question, there is no hesitation. This is the right and perfect direction that we individually, collectively are taking together, always united, always together, always one in this basic truth. And I know that with a full sense of gratitude, a full sense of appreciation for every facet of myself as presented in the beautiful faces that I looked at all this evening, the beautiful voices and the beautiful minds. And because of that, I am assured. I'm assured of this perfection. I'm assured of the success. I'm assured that this truth continues on resoundingly, radiatingly, wonderfully. And with that knowledge, with that gratitude, I release this word, knowing that it is law, knowing that it is so, as together we say. And so it is.
Thank you, everyone, and congratulations on your tests. Truly.
Thanks.
Sarah, good night. Karen, good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Connie, I am running to pick up my children, and then just do all the upload.